choose silence. For when we asked your church of war to recant their doctrine of mass genocide, you chose to silence us anyway. Therefore, it should not make a difference to people whose moral eyes have been gouged, that classless, bigoted racists with pretty handmaidens can be given public forums to air the same views that you quietly share. But in exact similitude, you are expected to negate the air of pretentious abhorrence and emotions that vaguely resemble guilt of the discovery that your male offspring have developed a proclivity for taking rape jokes too far, or when your daughter is caught up in a nail-biting, frenzied panic attack over her newly found porn show for anorexic paraphernalia. Your Armageddon is now a clear and present danger. A putrid cacophony of malignant injustice molded with hate-dry tears of fatherless orphans and septic secretions of the rotting malnourished. They who have fallen on their face have risen now till they waste all. Sadly both corruptible and incorruptible. Don't fight me.
¿Qué pana? ¿Qué es lo que fue? So it is Lance. Ride through going and still looks and didn't meet it. Since yesterday we go. People are just see the end result and feel it's that's it.
No, I think I'm just saying. I don't know. Point of view, breaking view, I don't know, breaking news, whatever. Don't fight me. Now the world, as a race, is in a race of opinion, approaching the inevitable crossroads of oblivion. Puppeted world leaders with supposedly gifted minds, now unmasked as pawns and paraded as wistful mimes. The actions bred of the stagnant womb of their ill-conceived collusion, mimicking that of their wanton disregard for anything that isn't aligned with fueling their greed and faceless presumption. Mistrust funds set up with exorbitant facade to parade the charade of erasing world starvation, while ironically, for lack of iron, children die with watchmaking precision. Now you're free to disagree, but don't fight me. Crafty magicians who have connived their own installation to the pedestals by employing the hypnosis of democracy and the illusion of emancipation. These now raise their heads forever upward as if measuring the height of their own bigotry and disregarding those who have been subject to their wiles. Abracadabra, don't fight me. As a due course of progress, the fissure of disparity between rich and poor, known in its...
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Pan Moving Forward in collaboration with Conversations in Pan Grand Finale, Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art, right? Today we will be announcing the winners. But before that, we would be sharing our experience in the last 6 weeks with some of the, or all of the contestants, some live, some over the phone. You know that it is an international competition, so obviously we wouldn't have everybody in studio, but we have a nice cast today. I am Aquila Rindell, President of Pan Moving Forward, and the host for this evening's program. We must shout out Cut Time Studio, the studio that we in now, Sun City Steel Orchestra, the Live Experience Pan Moving Forward team. All of those entities are somewhat responsible for us being here at this point. And we also want, before we start, to shout out all our sponsors. We have Mellow Grooves, Steel Orchestra, Sticks and Tone, Steel Orchestra, This and That Band, Michaels Smith Photography, Claude Gonzal, Pan Podium, and Private Donors. We must mention Miss Alette Wiggins. We know her as Fantastic. Good evening, Fantastic. I know that you're watching on and you would be in with us soon. This is her book, Conversation in Pan, is one of the main reasons why we're here, and we'll get into that later into the program. So we're going straight into our first participant, right, which is JL Semper. We have Miss Semper, and we also have Miss Chloe and Miss Bishop from the Bishop School of Performance Arts. Let's see if we can get Miss Bishop mics and Miss Semper inside. Good evening, ladies.
Good afternoon.
How are you feeling?
Okay. I'm great.
Nice. How are we feeling now that we at the end of the competition? How are you feeling about it?
Slightly relieved, but also a little sad because been doing this for about 6 weeks or so, and really just comes on, and I don't want to say goodbye, but I'm still relieved.
Right. Miss Bishop, how the experience was for you preparing? Well, Miss Semper piece would have been a piece that have a collaboration of 3 of your students, and how that went for you in terms of
picking and so on.
Coordinating.
Okay, well, I think it was really a great experience. When I got the opportunity, I thought immediately of these 3 students. So Jill have been a student at the school for at least 4 years now, and she have been thriving quite well. And apart from music, she is really into the arts in general, where theater and stuff is concerned. So, and her writing skills are really good.
Right.
So because of that, I said poetry. That's Jill. Down pack. And then I have a very young student who would have started just 2 years ago as well, Imara, who every time after class she would always be drawing, if it's not something she's seen on the wall, something. So I was like, I really want her to be exposed to this particular opportunity. So I thought of her to do the artistic aspect of it, to do whatever painting. And then we have Mr. Alliston, which would have been with me just over a year, and very musically inclined, come from a musical background. And I thought it would have been a great opportunity since he's a PAN student, and he would have won a lot of awards within that year from my school for PAN. So I wanted to bring him on board to be a part of this project. Yeah.
So give the audience a little information about the school, where you located and that kind of thing.
Okay, so my school is Bishop School of Performing Arts. We are at 22 Charlotte Street in Princestown. And the school is just over 5 years in terms of existence, and it was built not just limited to music, but arts, on the whole performing arts, where we have excellent tutors. And my sister is one that does the theater and the drama aspect, deal everything with performance techniques, right? Her name is Santaiki Bishop.
Miss Bishop. Taiki.
Yeah. And then we have Mr. Isaac Thomas, who is an excellent piano tutor. Then Trail Rojas, excellent voice tutor. And Miss Ebony Edwards, who is a PAN tutor. And PAN for Mr. Alliston Jackson as well. Right? And I am the director of the school, and I also do the theory aspect and the vocal aspect. Right? The school was built to expose, allow students to get that opportunity to really do what they love, delve into their passion. And it was so, you hardly get a lot of schools doing, anything with the arts, at least when I started. So I told myself, after I finish my degree, I want to be able to create that space where artists can come and really perform. And it's not just limited to performing, but we want to bring in the business aspect, where persons can actually learn how to build and market themselves as an artist going forward. So learning things like copyright, learning things like, how to really get onto that main stage, how to be able to do even things like vlogging, which is a major a thing that persons are doing now. So it's not just limited to music or limited to performing, but it's also learning having that holistic approach in terms of the business aspect of the arts.
How can people contact you?
They can contact me via telephone contact, which I can.
Number, yeah.
Can I? Yeah. Right. So you can contact me directly at 757-4958. There's also a business email address, right? Bishop School of Performing Arts tt@gmail.com. And then you can also contact me via social media. Instagram at the moment. We are currently building the other social media pages. Right, so BSPA_TT is our Instagram handle.
Well, Chloe, you're doing an amazing job, because in the beginning of the process, our first meeting, and I'll get to how the things start and that kind of thing. But the first meeting we had, we spent about an hour deliberating whether we should have a kids segment, because we thought that the kids would be at a disadvantage. And here we are in the finals, and we have 3 of your students here, and JL really stood out among everybody else. So not only that she's the youngest person in the competition, she's also the only female in the competition, right? So
I didn't pick up on that one,
Right. So JL, the why you chose the poem, and what what inspired you in terms of the writing itself?
Well, when Miss Chloe told me about the competition, I was like, what should I do? Where should I start from? So I did a little bit of research, and I was actually on YouTube and I saw a video about making the where the pan came from and history of it.
Right.
So I decided to do a little evolution
Right.
thing. So where the pan has come from to where it is now, what we have our national instrument.
Right, right. All right. Could we, Alua, get into the poem itself? Yeah, sure. So as we go into the well, yeah, check the next video. Sorry. So we have a Lua in the background, our engineer. Right, that is, yeah, that's it there.
Oh, look where pan reach.
We get the music off.
Bam, 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 badam, bam. Oh, hear the sound of that old steel drum. Ping pong, ping pong.
Right.
Hear that shimmering, sterling steel play. Oh, what a beautiful melody. That sound was refined as it is today. Oh, steel pan born from prohibitions, they were afraid of your heritage, but you found a way. From drumskins to tambu bamboo, it wasn't long until you found your sound. Look where pan reach. From raised metal to cookie trays and iron pans, your sound was born. From an old drum, the perfect instrument was formed. Badam, badam, bam, bam. Down the hammer goes the pound. Oh, that sweet sound creates a perfect rebound. Ping, pong, ping, ping, pong. Rubber against steel. Festivals can't do without you. Bam, bang, bong. More family was found. Guitar, double seconds, cello, bass. It wasn't long before you would talk of the town. Many stages welcomed your presence. In 1942, Winston's pre-displayed your range playing Ave Maria and God Save the King. Look where pan reach. Pumpity pum pum. Many come to commune just to hear you sing your tune. The name National Instrument was testimony to your achievements. From Trinbago shores to the diaspora, to Denmark, to Japan, to Sweden, your scintillating sounds rose the world. Pumpity pom pom, look where pan reach.
Alright, so if you're now tuning in, we are in the grand finale of the Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art, right? And we're here with JL Semper, and now we have JL's artist on stage, right? Introduce yourself, ma'am.
My name is Imara Hari.
Nice, nice, nice. Imara, how did you get involved in this competition? Yeah, answer. Well, she's sitting up. Jill, how she got involved?
Well, as you know, Miss Chloe Hockett-Stoller. So
Right, right. So we have the artists now. Now this moment really special in this competition, because these youths came into this competition, and for them being here at the final rounds of the competition is really amazing. So you're seeing on screen right now the art that the art pieces that she did to go with Miss Semper's work, right, which would have given Miss Semper some sort of advantage to reach to this stage of the competition, because all the elements of the competition is weighed equally as we go forward into the competition, right? So Miss Artist, give me the name again. Your name?
Imara Hari.
What school you're going to, Imara?
I go to Trinidad Renaissance.
Trinidad Renaissance. Alright, nice, good. And what you do, or what you play, what musical instrument you play at Miss Bishop's school? You play an instrument?
No.
No, what you do?
I sing.
You sing. Oh, very good, very good. You want to sing something for us? All right. So could we get the while the art piece is on, could we get the panelists on stage, please? Yeah. Yeah, come. Take off the mics.
Hello? Hello? Oh, yeah. No, I didn't come to sing. I don't know. Point of view, breaking view, I don't know, breaking news, whatever. Don't fight me. Not the world as a race.
All right. So we here with Janelle Semper, JL Semper, sorry.
No, good night. Tell her.
JL Semper, and we have JL Semper Panis. Mr. Panis, introduce yourself.
My name is Aliston Jackson.
Right. So Mr. Jackson came this evening, and and his father came and said, Leo, what's going on? And so I realized today that the Panis is somebody I work with. His father is a bassist, and we work together in the band called The Live Experience. How did you get involved in this particular competition, and what was your experience?
Well, you know, Miss Chloe
Right.
bring us all together, but
Nice.
my experience was fantastic because I like that's what we did,
Right.
and it sounded great, I find.
Nice.
My perspective. Yeah.
Right. Any part of it was difficult for you in terms of the playing and that kind of thing?
Well, I don't think so because I got help from Miss Chloe,
Right.
and I got some notes for myself.
Right.
So I don't think it was difficult.
Right. And what about the recording process of it? Like you had to do it over and over, certain pieces wasn't doing right, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it over about 3 times.
3 times. All right. Well, that is good. It's a crack shot. Yeah, people come to my studio and they have to do it over and over and over until we get it perfect, and it
Well,
sounds really well.
Practice makes permanent.
Right, nice, beautiful. All right, so Miss Semper, the last thing I have up for you here is the peer review, and before that, I would like people to know as well that Miss Semper had she not only participated in the competition, but she won the semi-final rounds in terms of voting, and we will get into that part of it just now. So she won the semi-final rounds in terms of voting, and probably the final rounds, I'm not too sure, the final rounds in terms of the voting process as well. So she didn't only participate, but she really went at it, right? So we have the results for the voting for the semi-final rounds on screen there. Yes, nice. So let's get into Miss Semper peer review. And peer review is part of the judging process. Every participant would have to give marks to their peers, and this is some of what Miss Semper had to say about her distribution of marks.
Hey, my name is Jill Semper, and I'm a participant of the Pan Poetry and Art Competition to promote book conversations in Pan. So every competitor has been tasked with ranking their fellow competitors, excluding themselves in places 1 to 5. And so up first I have Mr. Richard Mendez, who did Cold Steel. The title itself to me was very interesting already. I love his little stoops at the beginning. He had some clever poetry, and it did make me laugh at some points. His video really supported his topic, because you will see like different parts of the Pan's production. You would see probably one in a furnace, you would see some oil drums, and you could see like he had a tuner in his hand and pan sticks as well. I also really liked his art piece. It was very colorful and it had people playing steel pan on it. I also liked that his poem was neither too long or too short, and was basically really enjoyable throughout. It had a clear ending, and the panning background was consistent and was suited to the poem. In second place, I had Mr. Kaelan Alexis, who did The Spirit of Pan. In the piece, it had an underlying tension that made me just want to listen more in general. The pan in the background really emulated the underlying tension, and it really had me hooked from the beginning. I loved his background because it had some records on it. The art, what I understand was a digital piece, was very nice, and the words that occasionally came up on screen really emphasizes the points that were made, and he also had these really nice outfit changes that, like, in each stage of where he was talking about a different time period, different clothes will like emulate that and stuff. To me, coming down to the end, the pan playing was kind of displaced. I understand what he was trying to go for, and it was not what that they could have been a bit less there. So in third place, I had Mr. George Rampersad, who made the Ballad of Pan. I loved his use of instruments beside the pan to create his background music. I love the way the poem was kind of speak song, so he created an easy rhythm for us to follow, and we really just was along for the ride. I really liked how he read his poem. Alright, so although I loved his art piece, I believe it looked kind of lonely when the camera had to pan out in that frame where you see him and the art piece. Right, I wished I could have seen it more clearly. I believe some of his close-ups were a bit close-up, if you know what I mean. And all around, it was a really nice poem. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
Yeah, so good day, everyone. We're back on. For those who now joining us, this is the grand finale of Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art. Right, we have on set Roland Lyons Zappa, right, and we would be interviewing Mr. Roland Lyons at the in a moment, but right now we have online, straight from the cold Canada, ice on his shoulder, Alex Mitchell. Mitchell, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Do you want me just audio or video too?
No, well, we have it just audio for now. We was looking for your picture, but I don't know what my engineer did with your picture. I don't know. I don't know if it's a looks thing or what, if you throw away your picture. But yeah. You know them fellas just be operating. So tell me, how things going across the way? What the weather looking like? Is we raining cats and dogs in Trinidad for the past 2 days? Tell me.
No, it's nice. It's nice, and it's a little bit cool.
Right.
It's a little not cold, but it's just cool. I'm in a short shirt and a short sleeve and a long pants. I'm good. I'm at a pan concert right now. Is that noise too much for you? Is it disturbing or anything?
We hearing you good. All right, so stay on the line.
Good.
So I'm gonna explain to the audience a little about the judging process, right? So the first rounds of the competition, we had voting via Facebook, right? Like 1 point, comment 2 points, share 3 points, right? And you guys would have put in, right? We're looking at the voting process there, Alua, right? Alua is the engineer behind the scenes, right? You guys would have, for that first round, you guys would have a written piece, the poem, right? And we would have put it on the Jam Your Set page, and people would have vote.
All right, great.
Vote for you guys, right? So it was strictly voting. We have any pictures of that there in the judging process there, Alua? So we could give people an idea of anything happening. The engineer trying to get it happening. Yeah, right, good. So put up, yeah. So this is what it would have looked like. All right, you would have see click to see more. So the person would have clicked. They would have seen the rest of the poems, and they would have judged based on that, right? We see at the bottom of the screen there, we would have the results in terms of the amount of shares and the amount of likes and that kind of thing. Right? Right, good. So the second rounds of the poem, the second rounds of the competition, we would have had the art piece being displayed. Right? So see if you have any examples of that, Alua. Yeah, anything inside? So while the art piece is being played, we would have now vocalized. We would now have the poet vocalize the poem. So every poet would have been performing the poem, right, as the art piece being displayed. I'm not seeing any of the art piece there being displayed, right? It's supposed to be in the same file, right? That's the only 3 things in the file there. All right, good. All right, so back on to us, right? And then, well, lastly, it would be a video of the art, the poet performing the poem, and the pan piece, and your final piece just now, and we'll see Alex's piece just now. Alex, tell me what you thought about the point system and the way that we did the judging system.
I guess when we reworked it and we had just a particular target, that worked better. That worked better because initially they just getting the points from the votes and the likes and the shares. You know, there was some people who couldn't actually comment. And not realizing that they have to be part of the, join the group to comment and whatnot. So I think sitting participants were losing out on more comments in that area.
Right.
When that
right.
So when that was changed, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll be listening.
Yeah. Yeah. So when that was changed, and we had, well, you know what? The 2-tiered system. We had the the online voting. You gave that option to people to really appreciate your work and share it and also like it and whatnot. But there was another component of that, which would be the actual judging.
Right. So let me explain that to the audience, right? So what happened during the process, we would have been adjusting as the contestants give their views on how to go forward, and the participants decided that they wanted to have the online judging, yes, but they also wanted to have that human physical judging as well. So what we did in the final rounds of the competition, we had 50% of the marks for the online judging with a target. So you had 440 points to make based on likes, shares, and comments. So once you make that, you would have gotten your 50%, and then you would have now go on to peer review, which is the contestants judging themselves, and then we'd have a judging panel of three persons, and that would have been 25% and 25%. So it really boils down to, once everybody got the 50% from the judging, the peer review, and the judging panel. Right, so and Alex, saying that you guys would have felt a little more comfortable when it reached down to the final rounds, yes?
Yeah, I certainly felt more comfortable that way. Yeah, the added element of judging a competitor kind of seeped in there and whatnot, but I guess in the end we all dealt with it.
Yeah. So while the 6 finalists, everybody would have to give a first, second, third, fourth, and minus themselves, so they're not judging themselves, and then we would have tallied that points and give them and put them in place according to what they have, right? So we have a representing Canada, right, which is Mr. Mitchell with us. How do you feel representing
You know, in my community here in Canada, I figure that there are a lot more poets. I mean, there was a guy who initially was in the first section, but I don't think he submitted anything to move on. He didn't do the part of vocalizing his poem. That would be the Pan Piper.
Right.
Now he's an excellent panist, and I know he's been writing poetry probably before me. So you know, I would have loved to have someone else representing, you know, Canada here as well. But all in all, you know, I feel honored that, you know, Wendy was able to pass this on to me, and I could participate.
Right. How do you feel about being an expat panist? You know, it always have that little small. I can't even explain it. You know, Trinidad panist and panist from outside, and I think that is more happened with the older generation. You know, how do you feel? Do you get any other vibes? You know, that we are not one, that kind of thing.
I wouldn't say so, because it's Pan of Trinidad. It's okay. It's the Mecca Pan. It's on a totally different level, and some of the bands up here have someone, you know, who come up who may not have been an arranger, but whatever, but just have that love for Pan and started a group and moved with it and did the best they can with that. So you find that some of the talent in some of the bands is not as high as you would find in Trinidad. But on the other end of that, you have some amazing panists who always come down for Panorama and whatnot. I mean, we have the whole Lapierre family who've been playing with Phase 2 off and on for years. Some of the other guys, you know, recently, Carrie Ann, one of our panists in Afropan as well, played for the last 2 or 3 years with Renegade.
Right.
So, you know, when you come down and you experience it there, you know you are at a different level, and you know you got to keep up. So, yes, but I don't feel the animosity or anything like that. I not me, not in our group.
Right. Beautiful. So the Afropan, tell us a little about the Afropan group.
Well,
because your poem in particular was centered around that pan side, the Afropan pan side. Tell us a little bit about them.
Afropan, guy by the name of Earl Lapierre, left Trinidad years ago and settled in here, and being involved in some community group. I think it was the Hubman, Harriet Tubman group or whatever. Pan became an element of that, and he started off this group that grew into what is today Afropan. Afropan is one of the first major steel bands in Toronto. And from Afropan, you have Fanatics, you have New Dimension, you have Pan Fantasy, splintered group formed their own band. Today, Pan Fantasy is the reigning champion in Toronto, and they have won they've won the competition for about the last 5 years straight, 5 or 6 years straight, maybe more than that. So, you know, they outgrew Afropan, I have to say right now. But, you know, it's the first band I played for when I came here, and my heart is with Afropan. And most of my poems was in and around my experiences in that band. You know, one of my very first poem was, you know, I don't know if Trini people know, we all know what is a boof, getting boof. And Earl is a serious man when you're in music. You see, outside of the band, you could talk to him and laugh at him, but once
you can't be a band leader if you don't know how to buff people. That is just it. Can't be a band leader. Fun, you have to be able to give buff when it's time. Go ahead.
Exactly. So that was one of my first, voicing my either disapproval or approval of his methods towards me getting a book. So I just kind of immortalized that in poetry as well.
Yeah. So let's slip.
My head had.
Go ahead.
My head had, so I used to get a lot of books. So.
Yeah. Tell the international audience when we Trini say your head had, what I mean.
I mean, it's either we say you're hardened, which means you have, it's either you're hardened or you're a little bit done, which means you love the music, but you take it up a little bit slower than others.
Oh gosh, you just tell the international world you're done. See, I'm your international world. You just tell the international audience that you're done.
And I'm proud of that because, as Pharaoh said, if I was bright, I would have been a block-headed mule.
All right, so let's go straight into Mr. Alex's poem, right? Alua, yeah. While we stick a pin right there, just want to say that this is a calling program, so if anybody want to interrupt the conversation as we go along, feel free to do so. 727-8203. Let's get into Afropop.
My name is Alex. They call me Mr. Righteous. The music you're listening to is Live Your Life Like You're Playing Mass, a rendition played by Afropan, arranged by Andre Rouse. The name of my poem is Pan 2K4, not 5. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Afropan is my band. I could stand up and say that seriously as man. You see, I'm not just a fan of the steel band because I'm a Trini and I'm supposed to love pan. I'm Antiguan, I'm Bajan, Grenadian, Cayman, Canadian, even Jamaican, forsaking cultural practices, sleep, food, boyfriend and woman, for the sweet pleasures of caressing my melodious steel pan, even though those damn hooks always cutting up my hand. You see, for me, it's all about the late night going over the song, the correcting of the notes that was wrong, the knocking of the pan that turned into a pong in your head while you're in bed, the getting up late, the reaching to work late, the falling asleep on the train, the feeling of pain in your leg while you beg that tonight the arranger ain't take too long to finish the song, the ringing in your ears that never goes away, the cussing from the wife when you clearly hear what she say, the kids who notice that you're never there because you're always home late, worried about the band's fate, the falling asleep with a nice plate of food in your hand. Sometimes you're so tired you can't stand up and be a man. The patient wife who understand that it's Caribana again, and after all, you're a pan man. So she meets you by the door, put your pan sticks in your hand, while you look she dead in she eye, and say, darling, this is my last year with the band. The rolling of the basses up the street, the countless time the wheel roll over your feet, the pickup truck pulling the tenor rack, you jumping on and off trying to control the slack, the policeman who pass by and attack and say, get your ass off the rack. I wonder if he do that because I was black. The struggle up Fort York Hill, the next rack I have to go back for still. Don't forget some ties, some hooks, the gas to put, the generator to bring. But where the... It's like they want me to do everything. The realization, that rack ain't going through that door. The lift, the talk, the push. Yes, we get it in, but boy, my shoulder's sore. The uncertainty of playing the song. What if I play the notes wrong? Man, I could never live that down. I wonder what the hell taking them so long. Okay, now it's our turn to play. But gosh, this nervousness won't go away. My intro was good, but shit, I missed a few notes in the chromatic run. Boy, You know that song. Why you ain't relax and have some fun? Alright. I threw the first verse, but my mouth so dry I'm dying with thirst. That I'm gonna have to wait, even if my throat get tight. Because not even the pan jumbie go hold me down tonight.
Alex, you with me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Right, nice, beautiful. Well, I have to tell you, this was one of my favorite pieces because it related to me in terms of exactly what you spoke about is what happens to me every panorama. You know, the person who making sure the hooks there, making sure this happening, they want me to do everything that so as you vocalize your poem, especially in the semi-final rounds, I really was it impacted me greatly because you spoke to me, you tell my story, and I think that even as we judge, it's so hard to judge art because you know not that the others wasn't good, but because you relate to me, I gravitated to your story more than most.
Okay. Thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
It's I have to say that for the most part, that piece was kind of based on truth. We did have one of the Pan Alive competition at a place called Fort George, and as a little hill to go up there, so we had to bring the pans all up in there, and then when you got there, the entrance was not that big, so we had to struggle to get some of the racks in as well. And as a pan man, I don't know, anyone I think still feel that jitters on competition night. They still do.
Yeah.
Whether I had that piece down or did I just miss a note. I mean, my thing was that if I don't know that portion, I ain't hitting a wrong note. I ain't skating, but I ain't hitting a wrong note.
Yeah. So that part of the process, that excitement.
Play what I know and I play. Yeah.
That excitement, that little butterflies, that is part of the process, The pan piece. Tell me about the pan piece.
Oh, the pan piece was
and the art piece as well, right?
Okay. So I'll start with the art piece.
The art piece is supposed to be in his folder there. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the art piece. The art piece was, I would say, a random photo. I mean, we for Caribana, Afropan is one of the only bands that still roll and push fans on the road. We have the major rhythm section being towed by a vehicle, but all the other pan sides that roll for Caribana are either up on a float, up on a truck, some of them not mic, but Afropan is one of probably the last band that still traditionally roll on the road. So going up Lakeshore, when you're going up Lakeshore, if you turn back and you look, what you see is the CN Tower, iconic, because that kind of symbolizes Toronto, one of the tallest structures in the world. And someone just took that picture between those two 9 bays. And it was framed well. We used that as our calling card. We used that as our banners. We had flyers when we go out and play gigs and whatnot. That became us because Afropan representing Toronto, with the CN Tower behind. Onto the piece. The piece was, that was the first year Kes came out with that. I mean, it wasn't even Carnival yet, so I think we must have been one of the first bands to play that to the public because we have a show that called Snowflakes and Steel that always aired just at the end of January, February, just before most of the guys who playing leave, or who just going down for carnival leave. So that'd be Earl Jr., you know him as E-Man, and some of the other players go down as well. And for that session, there's a solo in the beginning. That's my daughter playing there. That's my daughter Patrice Mitchell playing that solo in the beginning of that, to start that song. There's no counting or anything like that. She just had to, with the nervousness, start. I'm also playing on that stateside band for that night in Pan Alive. And originally, I had another piece that I was in love with, that I've been practicing my poem with for a long while, but things didn't work out with that. I didn't necessarily realize that I had to get permission to use a piece of pan music, and that didn't come through in time, so I had to switch stream, and I chose this, which I think was, a better piece in the end.
Right, beautiful. Well, Alex Mitchell, thanks a lot for participating in the competition. Thanks for taking the time to even chatting with us at this point in time. We will take in piece of your peer review and we'll move straight into the next part. So have a nice one, and thanks again.
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity, and good luck to all the participants and whatnot. And yeah, I'm actually at a pan concert now that you interrupted, so so to see how dedicated I am to you, I'm out here just speaking with you and the rest of the public. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'm going back to mine, and I'll check in periodically later on and see how things go. Yeah, thanks again.
Enjoy your pan concert. Nice. Have a nice one.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so if you're now joining us, we are in the grand finale of the Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art. That was one of the participants representing Canada. That is Alex Mitchell, right, Mr. Righteous.
For the peer review. What I did was basically, I kind of learned from some of the last meeting we have and some of the ideas people were throwing out on what their process looked like. So I came up with a process that kind of lists about 4 or 5 categories and kind of put a point value to that and see how each person graded within that point, and then add the points all up and see what happened at the end. So the categories I came up with was basically, first one was the relevance to team, and that was a big chunk of that value or rating in there, because the basic theme we all know was the pan, the art, and the poetry, and being consistent with that, especially with the relevance to pan, was an important part of what a piece should look like in my eyes. The second part, which is the creative style and originality, to me that was the most difficult area to judge, because each person has their own unique style, and how do you critique a man's style? How do you put a point value on that? But nevertheless, I had to do that, and taking into consideration the creativity that went into that, and I put a second value onto that. The third area was basically the impact of the piece, how it impacted me, how I connected to that piece, and what was basically my personal views on that, not as my particular category of how I felt when I heard that piece in its entirety. And the final component I put regarding for my process was imagery and language, and that was a personal category for me, because a lot of my poems I try to be very visual with my words, so that when you hear them you can actually feel or see what's going on with my piece, and I wanted to see how I can rank each person against that in terms of trying to find and a little value on that, and I add everything up and I send it out there, and I was able to grade each person at the end. Some were very close, and I submit that out there. And it was something that was done with full integrity. There was no strategic voting, or there was no malice or anything like that, and there was no piece that I didn't like. Just to know, and I want to congratulate all the participants who entered and got this far into the finals, and for doing an amazing job, and to continue doing that work, and continue stretching yourself, and taking the criticism in full stride, and those who didn't get to the top in this round, I guess next year we're hoping that Akil and Alet would be able to come forward with something bigger and better. We'd be better being the first ones here. We'd be more prepared for that, and we can all enter again. So thank you and have a good night.
All right, good day, everyone. Good evening. So, if you're now joining us, we are in the grand finale of Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art. I am Aquila Rindell, and we have on set the Dapa, right? The Dapa. Introduce yourself. Now, don't give no small introduction, eh? There's a big one in the game. If anybody who watch Panorama regularly, they always see this face in Frontline, and that Desperados face too. Any one of the big ones, right? So go ahead.
Good night, folks. The guy Zappa, better known as Roland Lyons and the Bird Paper. Yeah. I must say that this competition has given me that encouragement to really recognize my talent and to really say my say of how I see this whole part of how we live.
All right, so Dapa, I want to get into an aspect of the experience. I think that we have on the line as well, Alua, Miss Wiggins, better known as Fantastic. She's there. Yes, let's see if we get Miss Fantastic inside. Hello, Miss Fantastic, you are inside?
I am here.
Right, and you get off work? You now get off work?
I've been looking on.
Right. What time
Just
you get
waiting
off?
for Akil to call me.
What time you get off work?
At 7, but I was listening on while I was riding home.
Dapa,
And,
it have anybody working until 7 in Trinidad? Wait, I move back home now, girl, and work until 4 o'clock, and we're doing
on a Saturday, mind you, too.
on a Saturday. Oh gosh, yeah. So we inside with the Dapa, and I want to speak a little bit about this experience in terms of the sponsorship, right? How you went about seeking sponsorship and that kind of thing. Give us a little bit about the experience.
Okay. Well, are you getting any feedback or
No,
static
I get
from me?
I hear you clearly.
Okay, awesome. So, Aquil, this is the first ever competition of its kind. So I approached firstly people that I am very acquainted with and people that I work with in the cultural realm. For example, Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra. I am a member of that band, so I'm on their membership team. So I figured let me approach the captain and his wife. They're owners of the band as well, and pitch it to them and hear what they had to say. And of course, they agreed because they wanted to support my personal ventures. So the Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra, we are in Tamarack, Florida. I want to say a personal thank you to the captain, Glenn Phillips, and his beautiful wife, and also the music director. They all came together and decided that they would contribute towards this venture. Then Sticks and Tones Steel Orchestra. They're here in South Florida as well. They operate out of Miramar, Florida. Gail Allen, her husband, and son Kobe. Everybody's familiar with that family here in South Florida and otherwise. She's a graduate of St. Francis Girls College, just like myself. and we've been communicating online. Sticks and Tones was part of our Mellow Group. We had an event, I think it was Carnival Sunday, and they were part of our program. So to Gail and her family, they head up Sticks and Tones Steel Orchestra in Miramar, Florida. I want to say a personal and special thank you to them. They did not hesitate at all to contribute. Pan Podium, we all know Pan Podium online. He is big online as well. I approached him. He was always supportive of all of my personal ventures. He has a copy of the book Conversations in Pan. So I reached out to him and he wanted to be a part of it. And, no issue at all from him. And he operates out of England. This and That Band is a very personal friend of mine. We did some work together back last year when the COVID broke out and there was no panorama. You guys may or may not be familiar with it. Called Sounds of Steel. We put it up online and it was circulated for quite a while amongst the different Pan pages. And This and That Band is headed by Sister D, Deborah Smith. She does her thing. She's actually out of Boston, and she's an international panelist, so that's her job. She messaged me this morning to say, she couldn't call or anything like that because she had a couple of gigs out there in Boston today. So for her, I'm eternally grateful. She, like everybody else, she didn't hesitate because, we're all friends, we work together, and she was very supportive of the venture. So I was able to, get some donations from her band, This and That Band. Michael Smith Photography. Michael and I, we go way back, and he was one of the first people that I called, and as always, friends support each other's ventures, and he also has a copy of my book Conversations in Pan. So does Sister D, by the way, and he didn't hesitate to contribute and sponsor. So for him, we are eternally grateful. Now, I want to say that there was a particular individual, and I want to call his name, but he's actually, I see him in the chat box right now, private donor. For him, I am eternally grateful. And he is actually a brother of one of my longtime friends from St. Francois. My friend called her brother, Mr. Basson, and he didn't hesitate though. I pitched the idea to him, and in 5 minutes we were on WhatsApp, and he sponsored the first prize.
Right, beautiful.
Totally,
Beautiful.
without any hesitation. And I was so overwhelmed with joy that I broke down and cried. I was so embarrassed, talking to him.
Right.
But I am very grateful to him. Like some of us, Aquil, you know how I am. I don't really like being in front of cameras and stuff. I like to do my stuff behind the scenes. We'll get to that part. And he's an individual like that. He just wanted to stay behind the scenes. I know that he has been following the competition from beginning to end. I saw him at the end making a comment, and I know he's in the chat right now looking on. So to him, I am eternally grateful because, he saw the vision, and without hesitation, like everybody else that I called, Mellow Group Steel Orchestra, my band, Sticks and Tones, Pan Podium, This and That Band, and Michael Smith Photography, nobody hesitated. Nobody hesitated at all.
Right.
It's been a first venture, and Aquil, people will at first like wondering and looking on because it's the first time and they think it's a great idea, and but these people, I am grateful for every single one of them.
So
they just threw their money behind this without even hesitating.
Right.
I am eternally grateful.
I want to just bring the Zappa in the conversation in terms of the sponsorship. How you feel about the thing? And one of the persons that you didn't mention, but I would mention is Mr. Claude Gonzalez, because within the end of the process, Miss Fantastic and I said, but we we didn't cater for a trophy. So I called Mr. Gonzalez, and he said whatever he would try to put in, and we'd have the trophy here. So Mr. Zappa, tell me about what you thought about the persons and them who decide to put the money where the mouth is.
For me, we must see the vision, as Ms. Allen said, and we must be able to...
Holy trophy.
We must be able to support. Yeah? We have to look at the collective, going for the fact that we can build bridges together by being collective. So to all the sponsors, kudos, and I hope that next year there's a better impetus to come forward, because it's not just about bridging the gap of young ones, but it's really the whole sense of ancestral, physical, connecting together the years' experiences and all that coming together, so that we can have a better picture of where we're going, So kudos to all the sponsors. Blessings.
Could you explain the trophy, the idea of the trophy?
It's just funny that I got a little synopsis of it. But this is the easel. This is like the portrait. And then on top here, you have the spoken word, you see the mouth, right? And it's in the pan inside there, and you have the whole calendar, not Sunday, tomorrow Sunday, right? Of the colors that you want to bring to the mind, the spectrum of colors and ideas of the mind, so that we can be able to connect with each other with a better symmetry. A beautiful work that I can't remember.
Junior Bisnat, right? Junior Bisnat, and he just finished it. We collected it today, and he explained why he put it together like this. So beautiful work, and I would want to go straight into Mr. Dapper poem. We do half because Mr. Dapper poem, Zappa poem, Mr. Zappa poem is long, so we'll do half of it, and then we'll do the next half. Yeah, rested one.
That will bring a gem called the pan in the world. But you can feel Yanks, uppity, upper class, obnoxiously turn up the nose. That instrument is a make-up dissonance. Any woman worth she saw better stay out, far distance, as face the stigmatization for following a pan man. By the time 1962 come, a leader from St. James mastered the spider, put it in the web of fourths and fifths. 6 years later, the guy Zappa, better known as Roland Lyons and the Bird Paper, spawned to feel the heat of human illusions. Just south of San Fernando, I remember hearing gay Hoytonians practicing. Watch a pair of bass sticks laying in Kaluska that would later play a role in Hatta's 1975 Panorama Champion winner. I watched my uncle play a mass of war scenes in Antillean All-Stars with fake war medals and rope to show rank. As I migrate up north, I would finally get a shot at the pan and ease the nagging voice in my head with institutionalized philosophies, go to school and learn well. Paul Campbell, it will always be an honor to call you a great teacher that guide my hands and head straight to Cordes in Rama finals. My virgin taste of the bull track. A nation forges on, but the struggles through those years to now still lingers on. Pan leaders, exploiters, manipulators, connivers, sing a river of crocodile tears. None of Peter Pan evergreen youthfulness. The appetite is to lick all the platters clean. The kindred spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood trampled by a marauding crowd of so-called jet-setters. A damning irony of grudging societal acceptance against the tide of past fierce, passionate men, defenders of free expression, now conveniently being forgotten. Paniards under lock and key, so contrary to the community. Mind sharp, not with the shackles of physical chain, but the cacophony of the materialism king. Money. Like a millstone on all our neck for food, shelter, and security. It's certainly now a desert future for budding flowers of paniard blooms. Music is life. life is music. Let the resonance of vibration and spectrum of colors bring symmetry. We are all music makers. But let there be assurance that we truly connect to bridge the disparity gap. The sacred and the profane should have the conscience that mind is superior to matter. Just as there's food for the body, there's also food for the soul. As a music maker using Pan as my mediator, I consider Orisha, Ori and Orino, the outer and the inner head in unison to find the integrity of what ought to or ought not to be done, measured by the divine universal sun. May our light shine upon the meaning of our existence. I am a music maker, critically analyzing my ancestors' culture. I want to walk in this mortal life under no duress of a modern day slave master. I am natural born music maker.
All right, so that was the Zappa, Roland Lyons. That is the back half, Alua. Oh gosh, Alua give it the back half, but we'll take it as it's going, right? Your style of expressing yourself. Tell me a little bit about it, and tell me how it relates, and in your observation, how it relates to people. You know.
A good question. There's a saying, once a man, twice a child. We're born into this world and we are conditioned by the society and what is considered success and what our guardians or protectors consider success. And most of the times is to make sure you have a proper education so that you can have the paper, the man-made paper in your hands. I can remember as a little child, I was always, like to explore, but it's always like, if I ask a question I'm not sure about, we're trying to be a police, Thankfully, I was able to have a natural sense for academics, and but I never felt right in society because I saw the double standards. I saw the reality of human behaviors. Now I see it even clearer. And what we do in society is that we stifle expression that is unique and original, that we came here and born with purpose to do. Everything has to follow a mainstream. It has to follow a like and comment. It's not evaluated in terms of the spectrum of vibration of the mind to bridge the gaps. For me, it's like this. If I'm speaking to anyone on any topic, I would like that person to before they can even say yes or no, ask themselves in their mind, true or false, so that it goes through a rationale in their head. And if they're saying false, well then show me a rationale why you say that false. Yeah, it's not about I'm older than you by physical. No. Yeah. I'll give you a typical example. Look, I used to go Sunday school, and I think that would have given me a grounding in terms, not Sunday school in Tobago, please. I'm talking about Bible thing here. Yeah, and what it had done is had given me from an early age that sense of consciousness or conscience of what I ought to do or ought not to do, not by societal norms, but what is that inner conscience, I'll give a simple example. Sometimes, I remember as a young child, you seen that Sweetie Christmas around time, Sweetie looking nice, come from England, America, whatever. And for a fact you can't go and take any. But you want to take one because you like how that toffee or whatever it is, it's so nice. And as you go to take it, your body sort of vibrate because you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
To me, like right now in the society, is anybody putting their hand in anything, and as far as the concern, nothing is wrong.
No conscience.
Yes.
But back to the question. The initial question is how people relate to how you express yourself.
Well, it's coming
yeah,
through.
go ahead.
Because I'll always be at odds in terms of what my ideas are, you know, and some people might not see it, you know, fit for their practicality of life.
Right, right.
We are all abstract minded, and we must be able to pull them together in order to bring a coalition of solutions. And unfortunately, if it is the masses saying so, then it means that you have to go your own way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would have gotten that in my life until I would have reached a position where I'm saying nothing is wrong with me really.
Right.
It's just that, you know, my expression don't really vibrate in what people see as their everyday life.
Right, right.
So look, each one of us have, this is another thing, each one of us, just like a snowflake, we have originality and uniqueness. Yeah. So whatever we want to bring out, it must bring that style that shows that. Yeah, you shouldn't be copying and pasting just for the sake of copying and pasting without being inspired to go to your journey.
Right.
You know, so I always had those conflicts.
So I would have remembered within the whole journey, the 6 weeks journey.
Yeah, wow.
Right? And I say journey because after this we'll still continue on.
Lessons.
You would have called and you'd say, well, Aquil, I wanted to work with me, I have some songs and things like that. So I'll send some samples of what you have.
Yes.
And immediately hit me as, this is not the normal.
Yes.
You know, and I ask some business question within the music industry.
Yes.
Who are your market? Who you're planning to target?
Yes.
Who you have as followers right now? You have a Facebook account, you have a Facebook page, because these are the things that would determine whether it would make business sense for the studio.
Yes.
Now, even as we would understand that we would want to go in the direction that we would want to go. In my studio, have a team of people dealing with promotion, people dealing with recording, people, and they wouldn't really be business about your philosophy. They would be business about the dollars and cents, and somehow it has always reached back to whether your stuff marketable or not, whether it reaching people or not, whether it is the in thing or not, and if you decide to go upstream, how are you going to navigate yourself through that upstream? Go ahead.
I by the grace of the Almighty, I see myself as a voice of that vibration to resonate, you know, memories and essence of being the fact that all of us is from the universe, and we have that purpose, and by the word is very powerful, and once it can be able to conjure the colors of opening up the portals so that you can be able to flow, then I think I would have done a job. Maybe next 100, 200 years, somebody might say, well, yeah, that was all right. You know, but for me, I want to stay true to myself while I define myself as a man, but knowing for a fact that this is really a spiritual journey while I live here for this short period of time.
What was the experience of actually having a product and trying to promote it using the social media?
Well,
is it that something that you normally do? Is it that this is the first time you're doing it? And, you know?
For me, really, this journey got real serious about 6 years ago. And with meditation, sometimes what I do is that once I get it in my head, I distribute it to all my friends, people who I've associated with.
Right.
So that for me was always, you know, getting that feedback. Some don't really say anything, some just leave it, not even open it or anything like that.
Right.
And I open, you know, sometimes when they see again the final product, you know, all of a sudden, you know, they say, well, I was reading that. No. You know, I have my own way of assessing people around me.
Right.
And who's vibrating really. Because what we have in this world too much is bandwagonists.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
So I will do Facebook, you know, like philosophies or something I was thinking, and, you know, just to be general in the sense, and you take the pathway, because it's about abstract. Right. You take the pathway that, you know, you could find your solutions.
Right.
Yeah? It shouldn't be about that dictation, really, but it should really sort of massage the mind.
Right, right.
To look beyond what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, just 6 weeks was been very hard because I had other challenges. But I think I was preparing myself to come to this fall.
Right.
Yeah, and I must admit that, you know, some of the technical aspects of it, I must appreciate what you did.
Right.
Because going through some of the phases, you know, you see some friends and, you know, you say, you know, it's not that you want to say that, you know, they have no gratitude or anything like that, or no respect. But we are so caught up in their own world.
Right.
You know, that it's hard for them to really just
take a time off to give
off.
you a click.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is something that we have to retrain our community, especially the pan community, because have a persons doing things on pan and just to give it a share. Right now, people give the live a share and give it a love and a thumbs up, you know, because it is important for you to do so. And if we all support each other within the pan movement, I mean, there's a lot of us play. So right now on set should have at least about 2,000 people watching, and you're right. You'll ask people, hey, share or whatever, and they're not doing so. So we need, I think there's a greater sense of education that we need to have out there, because we need to let people know that we need to support each other for this thing to grow.
I would say something, Akim.
Go ahead.
Once you start to go into institutionalized sense of learning, where there's only one answer for a solution, when there are many different pathways that can come to that solution, I think that is where the rivalry starts.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody wouldn't want to like it because if I like it, it means that, you know, I'm making him more important or her more important than me, you know, and not looking at the content and these aspects of it. You know, so
they call that professional jealousy. They feel, well, you will get some sort of a heads up more than, you know.
I don't see that way.
Yeah.
The more we share, because if you go back into civilization, you recognize that some of the great minds, some of them was just plain wicked. I'm sorry to say it. They always had that collective.
Right.
You know, one of the things that I always liked is the Three Musketeers, all for one for all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
but people outside our circles always have that collective too, because you'll see the other persons who don't look like us always getting together to discuss what we're going to do next, and how we're going to do it, and how we're going to pull our resources together to get it done. You know, and we still kind of don't want to join up with this one, and don't want to join up because we have this problem. Because once you are the same level with me, I good.
Yes.
You know, and that is something, but.
Yeah,
go ahead.
One aspect of it, this is something that I would have said to myself. The road is not for the swiftest who don't know where they're going in the first D place.
You have a call coming in there? Yeah. Let's take this call now.
Blessings.
Hello,
Hi, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, man, good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Mr. Zappa, Mr. Wigan, TNT, the International Viewing Public. How everyone going?
Yeah, great.
We're really impressed with the quality of work that we are seeing and the creativity, not just a normal pan player, but someone who can venture, you know, out of the normal circles and bring that kind of quality is really a wonderful gesture from the whole competition aspect. I mean, I was commenting and saying that I think we could even use this as a concert format, you know, and bring a whole different in terms of performance live for people to see, you know.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of suggestions in terms of persons saying we should carry to schools. Yeah, they think Miss Wiggins, you could jump in anytime because you got a lot of suggestions as well. Persons saying that the body of work that we have, we should write a book with all the poets. We should also get the videos to Nalis, the library, you know, that kind of thing, because there's a lot of education went on with the videos and it more it packaged in such a way that persons would see it and read it, and even persons who didn't reach the final.
We're talking about these time capsules,
right?
You know, so that you can bridge the generational gap. Even if we die, somebody could go and reflect on it and see the essence of you know where it came from. You know, and we need to do that.
So, Kola, thanks for calling in and sharing,
of
because
course.
we really appreciate.
Excellent work, Aquil, fantastic. The whole pan moving forward team, you know, excellent work. So, looking forward to the next part of this journey.
Yeah, man, thanks. The number is 727-8203. Anybody want to call in and share with us, no problem. Right? Let's just wrap up this. The last thing I have to speak to you about is the assistance that the management of the program lent to the competitors. You were part.
Yes.
We had a lot of meetings. There are persons who couldn't post on the pages. Yes. They would have sent it in.
Yes.
Why, that's fantastic to us. How you felt about your competence or lack of competence, right, and the kind of assistance that you got, right, based on what
well, for me, it was getting the final video package together. I mean, I tried to do it. I mean, I did the music, the art, and the poem. And to put it together, I mean, I didn't have a professional and financially not capable of doing what. So the management team would have been important for me, and being the fact that I could speak to you, on a professional level, and see that where I can think, because at the end of the day, the final product should have all the ingredients that gives you that vibration that people who sees it for the first time, it goes beyond the physical. Some people might not see something, it might look off physical, and they just shut down everything.
Right, because it's not appealing to them visually.
Yes, so I understand that importance, and I'm internally grateful for that aspect, so that I can be able to really give a better account of myself.
Right, right. So Aloha, let's go straight into the to his first half of his poem, and thanks for Dapper for traveling all the way from St. Joseph,
yes,
straight to St. Madeleine in South. After the bridge, people on that side just want to come down the road and things. So thanks for being here, and thanks for being a part of the whole competition. Yeah, man. Nice.
Katao, katao, crow, crow, katao, ka. I hear a distant drum ball. Oh no, sir. Oh no, sir. Just so I jump out myself, roaming like a nomad, coming to a rest plainly to see my ancestors in pain and agony. No Ogun to defend this disorder. Oh mama, oh mama. Mafa, mafa, mafa. Mafa, Mafa. I watch the cries in the Barracoon yards, anxious dark faces shackled for new land, under the duress of guns and cannons, conquerors of the drum, bells and horns, a renaissance of the West that is considered the norm, driven by a bitterness of vengeance, the cradle of spiritual sanctuary, now scorned, exploiters drip in profanity, embracing our religions of matter over mind, give free access to allow a human to be the property of man. Oh papa, flap, 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 shield, sails clap, clappity, clappity, clap, carrying forbidden cargo below deck with no room for a sneeze. For some, I dive in the ocean, splash out, splash out, splash out. To never return is a release from the squeeze. For visions of cocoa, cotton, coffee, and tobacco money, to feed the costume aristocracy of nobility. Pointy pinky fingers pirouette on teacups, handles, cubes of sugar on demand. Where a whip has no conscience to ease off, not even under spiritual command. Explorers offload human cargo on the nuggets of waters crimson by Armenian blood, but now subjugated bright minds from the first land of civilization. They make me work, and work so hard, no pay. I hear a birdie with a doctorate say, in this era of so-called liberation after emancipation order, a vanguard of spiritual awakening disguised as religious Catholicism start to flower. Shango and the Shouter Baptists had it hard though. Reclamation of lost spiritual invocation start to flow. Dance and sing praises in a mecca for incarnation, giving homage and credence to our heritage, history and legacy. Then just like that, one carnival norm, a fella with a ragtime band bring metal to withstand his strain if our next bamboo should bust again. A proliferation of innovators came. Priest Simon, they say, play the first melody. By the time war done, it's quite up in Massa, England, Taspo gone. With Western musical form, a woeful acceptance of the Queen's song. Grassroots society don't mind that we bring a gem called the pan in the world, but it gets feel Yanks, uppity, upper class, obnoxiously turn up the nose. That instrument is a make of dissonance. Any woman worth she soul better stay out, far distance, as face the stigmatization for following a pan man. By the time 1962 come, a leader from St. James mastered the spider, put it in the web of fourths and fifths. 6 years later, the guy Zappa, better known as Roland Lyons and the Bird Paper, spawn to feel the heat of human illusions. Just south of San Fernando, I remember hearing gay Hoytonians practicing. Watch a pair of bass sticks laying in Kaluska that would later play a role in Hatta's 1975 Panorama Champion winner. I watched my uncle play a mass of war scenes in Antillean All-Stars with fake war medals and rope to show rank. As I migrate up north, I would finally get a shot at the pan and ease the nagging voice in my head.
Yeah. So good day, good day. Alua, any music in the background there? I'd like to give them a little feel and some nice jazz from Akinola, Senan, Kusume. Yeah, right. So
and nice, I consider that it's breaking out.
Yeah. Keep it running nice in the back and give us that vibe. So who we have on set now is Kalon, Alexis, and we have on the line George Rampersad from Denmark. Could we hear George? George, inside?
Yes, I am here.
Hey, now, if people know who George Rampersad is, big in the business in terms of recording, in terms of poetry, in terms of keeping the flag flying high in all the way in the cold in Denmark, right? And when we saw Mr. Rampersad entered the competition, we were like, what? We have some big ones inside here, you know, and we really grateful that you took the time to be a part of this, and probably this was a walk in the park for you, but we would hear about your experience in just a bit, right? So hold 2 secs. We're going to have the results of the peer review at this point in time. Just remember that everybody would have had the full 50 marks or 50% coming from the online judging. They would have 440 points to make through like, shares, and comments, right? So they would have been coming into the finals with 50%, and we would have the peer review, the judging of the peer review, and that would have given them a percent out of 25, right? So the percentage you see at the bottom is not out of 25 yet. We haven't broken it down yet to the 25. So what you see down there is out of 100. It still will have to divide by 4, right? So based on the peer review here, we'd have seen George marks on top, right? He would have given Kalon 4.5 and Mendez 4.5, right? And that would have been the 2 highest points for George, right? We would have seen JL would have had 3 points, right? And we'd have seen Alex Mitchell and Lyons 1.5 each, right? So we have Alex Mitchell. He would have given George 5 points, and that would have been the highest point. you'd have given Keelan, sitting next to me here, 4 points. You'd have given JL 2 points, Mendez 3, right? So Mendez would be sitting in third according to Alex Mitchell from Canada, and we'd either have Lions as 1 point. You'd be sitting sixth, right? We have Keelan would have entered his score. He would have had George 4 points. You'd have Mendez 5 points, so Mendez would be the highest. George would be the second highest, right? In second place. Alex would have been third, right? And you'd have Lions with 1 point again, right? Then JL would have favored Mendez. So she would have 5 points for Mendez. And then she would have had Keelan 4 points. Following that would be George 3 points, Alexis 2, and Lions 1 point. We have Mendez scores would have favored Alex Mitchell from Canada, 5 points. Coming in second would be George. Third, JL. Fourth, Keelan. And then 1 for Lions, right? Lions would have favored George for first, Mendez for fourth. Sorry, Mendez for second position with 4 points. Keelan, 3 points. Coming in third, Alexis 2, right? And JL 1 point, right? So the total points for Mendez would have come in first in this rounds of the competition, 21.5 points. George coming in second, 21 points, so it's 0.5 separating them. Keelan coming in third, 17.5 points. Alexis, 17.5 points, yes. Alexis coming in fourth, 13.5 points. JL, 11 points. And Lions, 5.5. Right? And this is the percentage out of 100, and it would be divided in by 4 to get it into the 25%. Right? So we're going on with the rest of the show, and we're going on to Mr. George Rampasad, all the way from Denmark. Right? And George, you with us?
Yes, I am here.
All right, good, beautiful. So why I am not seeing right. George, tell us a little bit about some of your past work and how it is different for this particular piece.
Well, as far as past work goes, I have never really been writing poetry as such, or performing what I write as poetry, because I write songs, you see. But of course, in the process of writing a song, sometimes you might start with a melody and you put lyrics. On the other occasions, you might write lyrics and then find a melody. So sometimes when I am writing lyrics like this, because I tend to use a lot of rhyme, it starts off as a poem. But it is never performed as a poem, it is performed as a song, you see. So this is what I have been doing I've been writing music since the 90s, really. I've been writing. Because at some point in time, I got fed up playing pan, where I'm playing everybody else's tune, and I know I can make my own tune.
Right, and that's important.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing for the last...
So the difference, you saying that the difference is that you usually write songs, but this time you write a poem.
Yes. but this poem could easily be a song if I put some chords and
right,
you know.
Right. Well, the way
this
that
one, this was for the competition.
Yeah, the way that you perform it came out song like, you know, it came out like a rap, so kind of a small kind of rap, so
exactly.
vibes.
Well, right. Well, rap is poetry, but it's also
Right.
also a form of a song. You see.
Right. Tell me about your videography, because I believe that you would have been one of the more experienced among the group in terms of putting out videos. I see. Well, I saw in the past you put out videos quite regularly. So tell me what was the vision? Because even doing a video, it would have some sort of vision as you're going forward.
Well, when I was doing the video, first of all, I was thinking about what kind of clothes to wear. And for me, it was important to signal Trinidad.
Right.
Because this is where the pan is from. So this is why I chose the clothes I wore in this video, because you are signaling Trinidad. As far as the video goes, it is a very simple video shoot I did, because I did it in my living room. You see? So I just put up the artwork. I hung it on the wall, and I just had my wife filming me with a camera. That's all. You see?
Yeah.
And then when I was playing when I was actually saying, doing the poem and playing the drum, I just did it. I pulled the curtain as the backdrop, my curtain out of the garden.
Right.
So I just pulled the curtain, and I put on. I have these big studio lamps, so to get good light. But it's just one simple shoot.
Right. So
this is all it is.
So even and sometimes simplicity is sometimes even more effective than all this set of complex work. That is something that.
Yes, because you see, what is important for me, it is the lyrics.
Right.
It is not so much the video. Of course, you're making a video, but you don't want the video itself to overshadow the lyrics.
Right.
You see?
Well, one of the most powerful part of the video, to me, or in all the contestants, was when you said, or your lyrics was, they silence the drum, and then the video shoot went to your hand, two hands resting on the drum, and then music stop, drum stop, vocal stop, just for a second, and that silence was so powerful, at least to me. And yesterday, I was talking to one of the judges, and we spoke about how powerful silence is in music, and but the videography also lend to that silence and that power of silence.
Well, this is sometimes when you are playing music, generally, a lot of people think you have to play all the time. Sometimes the best effect you can get is when you stop playing. You see? And also because it was relevant, because the lyrics were.
Right.
So it wouldn't make sense to continue playing through that part. I had to cut everything.
Yeah.
You get a strong effect.
Right.
To show how serious it was that they had silenced the drums.
Right. Let's taking that video.
No, I am not seeing anything,
All right. Well, you have to look on your phone, your live, your computer screen, but the audience going to take in your video now. So go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. So Alua going to get us into, no, not the artwork, the final video. So Alua getting us there. Alua is our engineer for today.
Right,
good. Alua Pierre. All right, so we're in to the video.
When the Englishman ruled in the last century, Trinidad was just but a slave colony. The African drum he could not understand, so on black people's drumming he put a ban. Now faced with a law they could not understand, the people they played bamboo drums in the land. It was not very long before bamboo was banned and England had silenced the drums in the land. Now sentenced to prison was many a man for daring to play on the drums in the land. So it came to pass that the people began to play bottles and spoons, old pots and tin cans. Somewhere way back in the 1930s, when the English police people's drums they had seized, a man that was playing a tin can found that he could get more than just one type of sound. So he went to his home and he thought long and deep, and when he had rested and had a good sleep, with hammer and chisel he worked on a plan to develop the new instrument he called the pan. With World War II raging in both sun and rain, in a barrackyard somewhere in Eastport of Spain, he worked and created with brain and with hand. By the end of the war, he had finished the pan. Now all through the land there was festivity. The war had been won by the mother country, so the people ignored the law of the land and they danced in the streets to the sound of the pan. Since the very first day when the steel man was born, the Englishman watched with despise and scorn. He sent his police to imprison the man for playing calypso music on the pan. But the roots of the pan were so deep and so strong, the pan could not be suppressed very long. Now England has packed up and England has gone, but the pan is still there and the music lives on. Soon the pan spread its wings all over this world. Genius and magic began to unfold. Rich men and poor men, the young and the old, east, west, north and south, pan touched people's soul. So despite what the skeptics and critics might say, you can hear on these magical instruments play, from the master's baroque to calypso's sweet strum, on what was just once a discarded oil drum. And so today in many a land people sing and they dance to the sound of pan. So thanks to the founding fathers of pan for creating the pan when the drum was banned. The journey was hard and the road was long, but history has shown that England was wrong. She failed to silence the drums in the land, so I now give to you this ballad of pan.
Right, so we're back inside.
Yes.
Conversation in Pan Grand Finale, right? Together with Pan moving forward. This is Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art, and we have George all the way from Denmark. George, tell us about the Denmark experience. How, in terms of your transitioning from being a Trinidadian as a youth and then go across there and surviving off of the instrument, or not only surviving but striving off of the instrument. Give us a little small taste of that.
Well, how do I say it? It has been a good experience, you see, because when I came out of Trinidad, that was in '84, and I got in some good company with Danish musicians, and they appreciate the pan a lot because most of them hadn't seen pan. So I started to play with a couple of Danish bands. They had a Danish calypso band and so. And then some of those guys, they were music teachers, and then they got me a job doing evening classes and in one or two schools to do little courses and so, you see. So because I fell in with the right crowd, they had contacts and so, then I got work to teach. And then I got these 2 or 3 bands together, playing together with them and so. Whenever they have a job, they would call you if they want a soloist and so. So that's how I started playing, and then I started teaching some kids in the evening. We formed a band. It was in a music school. And from there, things started to move on, you know. And then we formed a steel band in the city where I live here. And then we formed the band called Denmark All Stars to play in the first European Pan Festival in Paris. That was in 2000. So I kept on playing, but most of the time I was playing more with other bands than with a steel band, because the steel band you don't get much work with a steel band, because a steel band takes up too much place. You can't go into a nightclub with a steel band. You see?
Right.
So I've been doing quite a bit of teaching, but still you can't make it by playing pan and teaching pan alone. You still have to work on the side.
Right, right.
It isn't that it is a full-time job. There is not enough work.
Right, right. Understand. Tell me about the management and the competition. I know that we develop a lot of the rules and things as we go along. Tell me about some of the things you was comfortable with, you was uncomfortable with, and how it ended up at the end.
Well, it was a bit chaotic in the beginning. But this is understandable because you are writing the rules as you go along. So there's nothing wrong with it that it is chaotic. What is important for me was that people consulted as to how it should be run.
Right.
For me, this is important.
Right.
That the rules weren't just made by some arbitrary person, and then you have to follow the people. There was a lot of input from all the contestants.
Consultation, yes.
Yes. And because of that, I think this is how, even if I said it is not negative that it was chaotic in the beginning, but I think because of the consultation, that this is how it ended up very well.
Right.
It was the process was very good.
Nice.
And when you have a good process, then you get good results. You see? So I am very satisfied with how it has ended up. And I also am satisfied with the process of inclusion.
Nice. I remember even in the beginning of it, with Miss Wiggins and I would have had disagreements going down the road in terms of saying one thing but consulting with the participants. You know, she would have looked at it as we would look weak, and I'm saying no, consulting to me is not weak. Consulting is strength, you know, saying that hey, we want help and we want help from you guys. Nothing wrong to say that, you know. So I doesn't really stand on that, on the pretense that, you know, you would feel weak if you ask for help or if you ask for everybody to be involved.
There's nothing wrong with having differences, you know.
Right.
Because the differences means that you are going somewhere. If nobody has a different opinion, you never get anywhere.
Yes, yeah.
So this is why differences are good.
Yeah.
It makes for discussion, and discussion makes for progress.
Right. So tell me about your art piece. Just briefly, how you think that it lent in? Because I'm going to play your art video now, so you don't need to repeat a lot of the things that you're saying. But tell me why it is that you feel it was necessary to choose it.
Well, I was looking for something that, not just a piece of pan art, that something that would relate closely to the lyrics of the poem.
Right.
And because it was the lyrics of the poem, it is a story. It is on a timeline. Okay. Then I said, well, relevant because the top half of the carving is also a timeline.
Right.
Where you start off with the duduk and then you went into the tenor pan and so on, and then later on they started making harmony pans.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So it for me it meshed very well with the timeline of the story.
Right.
Going from the beginning, and then with the art piece also has a timeline going upwards.
Right. Good. So, George, let me thank you for being a part of this discussion this evening. What is the time in Denmark, George?
Now it's 3 minutes past 3 in the morning.
Oh gosh, what Jack wanna say is a lagahu? So thanks for being here, George. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being within the competition. I mean, we really enjoy. I'm not talking about the management alone. I'm talking about every WhatsApp meeting, every interaction with you. We really enjoy the personality. And I mean, shout out the your family from which part in Trinidad, George?
From Paje village in Tunapuna.
Nice, Tunapuna. I was speaking to the Tunapuna All-Stars captain Sam, and he said anytime I'm talking to George again, mention him. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Sam is that kind of family too. He married my second cousin.
Right. I had to move up to Tunapuna, boy. Like everybody married in up there.
I was a captain in Tunapuna All-Stars in the early 80s, you know.
Right. Yeah. Nice, good. So again, thanks for being here. We're going straight into that video. And we'll be trying to get on to Miss Wiggins again. I hope she have a phone close to her. All right, George, have a nice night.
All right, you too. Thanks. Take care.
I have chosen to accompany my poem is a wood carving. I got it from the late Ras Bob, a wood carver from Blanchisseuse in Trinidad. It is carved in a type of hardwood known locally in Trinidad as serret. Ras Bob called the carving pan in my brain. As you can see, it is a bearded face of someone concentrating, someone deep in thought and at peace with himself. The face depicts someone of African origin, which coincides with the fact that the first pioneers in pan, the founding fathers, were people of African descent. Above the face, the carving depicts pan from the beginning, the duduk, a two-note instrument not tuned to any definite pitch and used as a percussion instrument. Going up from the duduk is the tenor pan, symbolizing the quantum leap, the giant step from the duduk to tune the notes spanning more than 2 octaves. Going up from the tenor pan is the bass pan, symbolizing the development of other types of pans, providing harmony and accompaniment to the melody being played on the tenor pan. The placement of the pans above the face in the region where the brain is located symbolizes the effect that pan can have on people. Hence, pan in my brain. So, there you have it. The wood carving, my chosen piece of pan art called Pan in My Brain. Thanks, and have a pleasant day.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We are here. Pan moving forward in collaboration with Conversations in Pan, grand finale of Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art. Miss Wiggins, you inside?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, better known as Fantastic, aka Fantastic, right? I just want to discuss and just now there I see a lot of hearts going up when George performance being played, but I don't know if the heart was for George performance or Kaylon on set, because like Kaylon has some ladies fans, and I know you one of the ladies fans that Kaylon have.
I am a huge fan of Kaylan's, and after when we were talking behind the scenes, I wasn't sure that I could mention it.
Yeah.
But I heard you mention Alex when Alex was doing his piece earlier. So, Kayla, just so that you know, I absolutely and completely love you. I love your work. I love you stood out to me from the beginning. So I, like everybody else, I'm waiting with bated breath, because that's what Aquil does to me. I have to follow along like everybody else. And I am hoping that you win the competition. Okay?
Thank you very much.
That's how much you impacted me.
Yeah. So because Fantastic was chosen to be a judge, she got cut out of anything to do with the results tabulating. So she keep harassing me. Aquil, tell me the results. Tell me the results. I said, no, you just have to send in your results, and that's it. You wouldn't know anything until the end of the night, right? So that being said, I would just read out, not show, I would just read out Miss Fantastic's results, because she would have been one of the judge in the finals, right? It's three is Miss Fantastic as we know her, Alette Wiggins, right? Troy and George Caesar from Deltones, and we've been hearing his work in the Deltones. In the back there, the guy
Phenomenal individual.
Yeah. Troy, Mr. Bernard, not Mr. Bernard, there, Alua. When I call Troy, he'd have to say that last name. That last name too hard for me to pronounce. But Troy is a writer of books, right? And he does poems and things as well. And we would be speaking to him in the back, coming down in the program. We have Miss Alette would have had Kaylon, because the last set of peer reviews, you guys would have to leave out one person. It would have been 5. Your highest point would have been 5, but the judges would have had to give a point for everybody. So it would and it's 6 of you guys, so it would be out of 6. So Kaylon would have gotten 6, and he would have been on top for Miss Fantastic. We'd have George, number 5, second, and he would have gotten 5 points. We'd have Mendez, 4 points, right? He would be sitting in third. We'd have JL sitting in fourth with 3 points. We'd have Alex, 2, and we'd have Lions sitting in 6th position with 1 point in the rundown, right? So I'm gonna speak a little to Miss Wiggins a little, because we want to talk about the genesis of the competition and where it started. And you just remind me, Miss Wiggins, that we have to speed it up, so we're going to talk about it briefly, right? So I called Miss Fantastic to judge for the Jamia Set competition, because I think that we underutilizing the expats in the Pan fraternity. The expats, they do a lot. They carry Pan in every corner of this world, and they also every year come back to Trinidad. They convert people and bring them back to Trinidad every year for Carnival. So our economy is boosted because of the work that these are the ambassadors in Pan, right?
And Accra, we support all the shows online. when WAC has pay-per-view, we support all of the shows online.
Yes, yes. But look, even in this competition, who are the sponsors?
Ah,
A
there you go, big observation, right?
100% expats. And this to me, this is the first I ever seen steel band sponsor a competition. This is the first
And that's marvelous.
I ever seen Sticks and Tones. I get buff up
Sticks
for
and
saying
Tones.
Sticks and Stones. Very apologize, yeah. Sticks and Tones, right? This and that steel band. Who am I missing there?
No, this and that is not steel band. This and that is just the, Sister D France.
Right,
this and
right,
that,
right, right.
But they're not a steel band. They're just a,
And what
a
is the other
regular
steel band?
Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra.
Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra. So in my mind and in the mind of the guys from Pan moving forward, we think that we want to reach out to the expats and have them involved in the things that we do in here and give them some sort of equal platform. So I called Miss Wiggins to judge the Jammy set, but she was so invested in Pan Stereonets, and because of her integrity so high, she said, Aquil, I cannot judge the competition because I am supporting Pan Stereonet. So we spoke on that day, and she told me that she have a book and she want to promote the book. And I said, well, why we don't do just as we did with the Jammy set, have an online competition and we make the book the primary focus. And that is how the idea for this start.
That's how it came about.
We would have, because me personally, if I get involved in things, I've learned not to take it for granted that you know. For instance, the first time I went to one of the schools that I am teaching, they had a music teacher. She plays quattro and she sing, but she had two pans in school. So she have some children doing the national anthem. And the children put one hand on top of the stand and the next hand picking out the anthem. Now to she doing a good job because she really don't know about pan, but she hearing the anthem, so she doing a good job. But to me, I was like, where's that? So when we doing art and we doing poetry, I decided that, hey, I need to get a professional for the art and some, we have Miss Wiggins as the professional for the poetry, and we bring in Mr. Akinola as the professional for the pan. I just wanted to be dealing with the technical aspect and in terms of bringing some more visibility to the book, and we had that little group. Ms. Wiggins, could you give us a little experience of that little group and how we started and that kind of thing? Your experience briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you rightly said, you approached me and originally, to be a judge, but I was seriously invested with Pan Stereonet, so I just figured, I couldn't. But with this, I couldn't say no to this because, I think everybody knows online that I write Pan poetry. I have my book, Conversations in Pan. A lot of people, friends and so on, they have my book. So I couldn't say no to that because it's poetry and of course it's Pan. I'm a huge Pan aficionado, Pan lover. Where there's anything Pan, I'm there. So Aquil, I couldn't say no to you. Now, as you rightly said, now we had our Zoom calls, separate from the participants. We had our Zoom calls. You, myself, Akinola, and Josie, Josie's art piece is featured in the promo video. So we want to thank her, of course, for her input. She came on board very early. The name, Rhythm, that was part of her idea. Again, we want to thank Akinola for, of course, his excellent music.
And this is his music in the background as well as
the background.
Yes, this is his production. Yeah. So
I know that George Rampasad had said at first it was a little bit chaotic, and I want to explain that because we had challenges at first, of course, because this is the first ever, and we didn't really have rules set out per se. We were learning as we were going along. Yeah. So,
but that too was deliberate, because we wanted that organic development. In terms of let's put this here, but don't stifle it to just this, because when we have the participants come on, they might have some great ideas, and they did, and we listened.
And act well.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned it in your conversation with George, and rightly so. That was a foreign concept to me, you know, as an elder person. And I never heard of a competition where you had the participants' involvement, especially to the extent that we had it. And getting feedback from the participants, you know, in all the Zoom calls, that kudos to them, they attended all of the Zoom calls, right?
Yeah.
And getting their feedback and them corresponding back to me to tell me, oh my God, we're so glad you guys are so accessible. That's foreign to me.
Yeah.
But as George said, it worked out just fine. And it was something new and different to me.
Yeah.
At first, when you mentioned it to me, I was like, well, how could we do something like that? But I am glad that we did. I'm glad that we did, because listen here, these people are phenomenal people. I mean, they have ideas. I'm glad that we implemented some of the ideas and changed some of the things up as we moved along, right? To make a holistic process, as you rightly said.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, challenges also involved. I mean, like, you're down there, of course. Josie's down there, Akinola's down there, I'm up here, I'm the Lone Ranger up here.
Right.
And that in itself posed a challenge at first, because remember when we started, I was 1 hour behind you guys.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everybody has their own schedule and projects and so on going on. So coordinating online on a Zoom call, it was a challenge. I'm driving to work, dropping my grandson, dropping my son here in the morning, and we're trying to have a Zoom call while I'm driving. So, you know, things like that.
it was like that.
It was very challenging.
Yeah, it had the challenge. I wanted to derail you a little because I want to move it along. I want to make sure that we make special mention to Miss Simone Small as well, part of the Pan Moving Forward.
Simone, oh my God, Simone, hi.
Yeah, Pan Moving Forward team. She worked hard behind the scenes,
helping me
to
with
make sure that the thing move
stuff.
along, and just speak on some of the things that was surprising as the process go on, like in terms of when the participants went up, we started to see poems going up.
Well, and I called you, you know.
So explain that, because although I said people might not understand.
That was a surprise to us. Because we had a process, of course, you know, we had a registration form, thanks to Jonathan for helping us with that.
Yeah.
And people, of course, first day we had, second day, and so on and so forth. But when the first phase 1 went up, phase 2, right? I was in phase 2.
Yeah.
When everyone's poem went up, a couple people from out of the woodwork, I guess they were following along, put up poems in the midst of the official competition. So I called Aquila. I was like, "But what is this?"
Yeah. So we saw, we saw persons just like they get excited and without registry
on the Jamaican side. One of them I was actually roped into the competition, who was Malcolm. I actually got Malcolm, a good friend, to join in. And then the other person is also, you know, a Facebook friend, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm not into the competition. I just like what I'm seeing, so I just wanted to post up my poem."
Yeah. So what was important for us too is well, at least to me, because I come from an education base, is objectives, right? And one of the main objective is to promote or bring visibility to the book Conversations in Pan. Could you tell us a little bit about the Conversations in Pan quickly as we move along?
Absolutely. So it came about all the way back in 2015, 2016 is when I got the idea, because I lost a job. And, you know, I was always good at writing since high school. I started writing short stories, and then I flipped to poems because to me it was less work. And I was like in the interim trying to figure out, okay, what do I do now? You know, should I switch careers? This is probably the time I should kind of like focus on my writing. So that's how I started to write my poems. I used to listen to a lot of pan music, Vanessa Headley show and so on. And I wrote one poem, 2, 3, 4, and before you know it, I was like, you know, let me put together my book, right? It took me a year to put it together from 2015 to 16, 2019 to publish.
Right. And what would you like to see happen to the book? What's the end goal?
Ultimately, I wrote the book because when I was studying at St. Francois, and I had a phenomenal lady, Miss Davidson, as my English teacher all throughout Form 1 to Form 5. She was a huge impact. She made a huge impact on me. I mentioned her in the book, and I didn't have anything that I could kind of like relate to because we studied poets from England at the time because I did GCE, so we studied Sir Alfred Tennyson and people like that, and I think he did have a Caribbean book, but there were I
Very
wanted more.
limited, very limited. So
Yeah,
you saying
right?
that we should have this book in our schools
Listen,
because
absolutely
we should
and
be
completely.
studying our own authors and our
We
own.
should be studying
Yes,
our own.
beautiful.
And why
beautiful.
not pan?
Yeah.
That's a musical
and
instrument.
why not pan? It's our national instrument too, right? Some of the other things that objectives and which we achieve, and this is how I measure success. And I see other people measuring success all kind of wishy-washy way.
We
But
achieved all of our
but
objectives.
we wanted to create a space for different disciplines and entertainment to collaborate, which we have, and we vouch to continue talking with everybody throughout the year so we could create some more thing and to package PAN differently. Some of the smaller objectives was to grow the membership and PAN moving forward, and we have seen a growth almost like about 100
Absolutely.
members, right? Keeping
more.
PAN on the front burner because we now come out of the pandemic where PAN, nothing was happening with PAN. Thank God there's a lot of little small things happening, initiatives by steel bands, and getting persons more in tune with the social media and promoting the social media because we think that is the way, that is the now time, and that is the way to go.
That's the way moving forward.
Right?
Yeah.
So stay on, and we're going to discuss some things with your boy, Kalon. And
Oh my gosh, I would love to ask him some
yes,
questions.
so if it is that you have some questions to ask, you would have that
Absolutely.
opportunity. So we have Kalon here, not the youngest member, but one of the youngest members, and it is really surprising to see what these youngsters bring into the table because
Tell
as
me
I was
about
saying
it.
in the beginning, we spent an hour in the first meeting talking about whether we should have a different
Yes.
session for youngsters and so on and
yes.
so on. And right now we have Kalon as one of the forerunners in the thing because we just heard Miss past fantastic results. I would have been one of the persons who enjoyed his piece as well. And we thankful for you even participating. Why did you decide to take part in this competition, Kalon?
Honestly, it's my mom that brought it to my attention, and then like at first glance I didn't quite understand kind of rhythm in pan, poetry and art, and it's something I never saw before or heard of before. But when I really understood what it was, and it was like a merging of all the different art forms, I was like, yeah, definitely I had to try this, I must do this. Yeah.
I'm laughing because I was the person taking the lead role in terms of how we roll out the promotion of it.
Yeah.
And even when I just put out rhythm and pan, poetry and art, the rest of them, Aquil, we need to do more, we need to say more. And I said, no, we don't need to do more, we don't need to say more. Let people interest Pete, and you just nail it or made us understand that exactly the intent that happened, because you just see it and it was curious enough to just and we roll it out as it go along. So thanks for sharing that with us. Coming from a steel band, right? And I don't know if you want to mention or big up a steel band because there's a forum to do that. Coming from a steel band, tell us what kind of support you're getting from the steel band and the members and your peers and so on and so on.
Yeah, well, big up First Citizen Supernova Steel Orchestra.
Supernovas in the house, big band.
I only joined the band a couple of months now. I think it was February.
Right.
And
yes, you mentioned that you was with a band before.
Sangre Grande Cordettes, that's my foundation there.
Right, Sangre Grande
yeah.
Cordettes, big band in the house as well. So you representing both Sangre Grande Cordettes and First Citizens Supernovas. Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a lot of colleagues and friends, band members alike, sharing and posting, asking people to like and comment, even making their own broadcasts to their friends and whatnot to come and support, and I really appreciate that.
Right, good. Fantastic. You have something to ask?
Absolutely. So, Kaylin, I would love you to explain to me really quickly your thought process behind that poem, The Spirit of Pan.
Okay, I wanted to describe the feeling I get when I play. And I'm sure this goes for all pan players alike. There's always that point in the music where, yeah, your body's moving, but your soul is somewhere else, and the music just engulfs you whole. That feeling, that was it there, and I was trying to figure out what to name it. Is it the vibe of pan? What is it? And then I said the spirit of pan. That's what it is. And that was the inspiration right there, that feeling.
Could we get the art piece up? Write it up already. Nice, good. So the art piece that you have there, the spirit
How
of
did
pan.
that come about?
Yeah, and explain what you did there.
Okay, so
this is visual art, right? And you do some visual art.
Yeah, graphic design.
Graphic design, sorry.
Yeah, digital art. Yeah.
Nice.
So at the bottom we have the foundation, which would be our African ancestors, and I try to make it look like they were looking on to the future.
Right.
Right, and in the skies would be, well, the progress upon where it is now, and well, the people, all those are inspirations of mine and people that I think were foundation members in getting pan where it is today. Yeah.
Right, nice.
So,
Good.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question, April. On that poem that you did, Kaylin, how long did it take you to write that poem?
I did it within 2 days. I did like the first half in 1 day. I slept on it, and then the next day I finished it off.
Excellent. And just so everyone that's looking on, you guys know that Kaylin is a panist. He plays the pan. He wrote his own poem. He played the music in the video, and he did the art piece himself.
Right, yeah. So he would have been one of the persons who would have done that, or the next person would have been the Zappa, right? Still in studio with us,
Right.
enjoying the whole thing, enjoying the journey. So big up to you too. I can't remember if anyone else. George? Yeah? No, not George. No, George art piece came from somebody else.
George's
Right.
art piece was somebody else's, yeah.
So you study music?
Yes, I do. I just finished the certificate in music at the University of the West Indies, and I'll be starting the bachelor's in September.
Right. So why
Good
want
job.
want a music career?
Because music is me.
Right.
Everything I do, music. I don't have no other hobbies. Nothing else. It's just music.
Right. So if you could make money from what you love, you're good to go.
Yeah, I would advise anybody to do what you love, because in UE, the work I do there is not like work. I look
Right.
forward to attending classes and homework and everything.
Right.
Because it's what I love.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I want to ask him really quickly, Akil, because I think we have one more person, right? We still have Richard
Yeah.
Mendez. Okay, so Kaylin, I saw your mom and your dad and
Yeah.
grandma and grandpa really coming out supporting you,
Yeah.
right? I mean, how does that feel, having your whole family, your loved ones coming out and cheering you on?
It is
I saw
a
your
great
mom in the
feeling.
box.
Yeah.
I saw your mom in the chat.
Yeah, my family is always there for me 24/7 throughout my whole musical journey. I've been playing pan for like over 9 years old. Not just music, but anything else I'm doing on the whole. They're always my biggest supporters, honestly. Yeah.
Good. So
Awesome.
tell me about the who direct the video. Why? I mean,
Yes.
we had the change of clothes. We had the
Yeah.
Yes.
the shooting.
Yeah.
The razor. Yeah. Where all of that coming from?
I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the video at first. At all. I spent the whole week trying to figure it out, and it's only until the night that I was going to record it, I was laying on my bed and I just get this spurt of creativity, and I get up and I start to say, okay, I go and do this. I get the vest, I make fake blood, I slice it up, then I look for, I actually cut the African cord from a bed sheet, and I say, yeah, we're going and do this. And well, I tell mom, and well, mommy, she videotaped everything.
Right.
So you cut up your mama's bed sheet.
What? When I go in and do my videos, better call mom. Nah, very good. Excellent. Give me a little, before we go into the video, give me a little thoughts on the peer review. How you mark your peers, right? You had Keelan, you would have Mendez first, you would have had George, then it would have followed by having Alexis. Alex, right? How you
I judged it mainly based on how the different art forms synchronize with each other.
Right.
Yeah. Because I mean, to have, they stand out as separate entities, but the competition on the whole is about merging them.
Yes.
Yeah. So my main factor was how they merged everything.
Right.
How synchronized was it?
Yeah. Let's get straight into that video. All right. Keelan would be our last in-house participant. So probably if you want, he could probably stay until the end. But if he have to go, he could go. But we going straight into Keelan's video. I hope you guys enjoy.
The spirit of Pan, one I know all too well, once it take control, it's like I'm under a spell, something about it, just love to compel, and I can't wait no more. This story I must tell. The spirit of Pan ain't born yesterday, it born a long time ago, way back in the day, and this spirit, never born to play, is the resilience and fight that was in Port of Spain. But wait, it didn't really start here. It's our African ancestors' blood, sweat and tears. These enslaved people brought their drums and culture, but the British government strip away and eat that like vultures. So the people was burning with rage. The drums get banned, have nothing to play, but the longing for musical expression still stay. So they improvise in their own kind of way. And this was that spirit working. The people cut bamboo and start to work it, but when the bamboo bust, man start to fuss and rush to pick up the thing, and them that is rust. Cheese and ages, tin can, biscuit pan. This was the genesis of the Iron Man, Metal Man, who formed the famous ragtime band and started to cause us stir all over the land. Yes sir, when they pound the metal and the shape start to bend, they realize there's a new song come out in the end. This was the spirit of Pan, working times 10 to evolve the song for all women and men. Ping pong, that's what them call the song. But now self is back and all down in tongue. You see, the spirit of Pan was a little too strong, and all Pan get defensive over the song. Oh Lord, talk about pressure, raise and hand over musical treasure. The woman was pleasure, so the fight for that too was spirit of Pan. What we go do? All this was part of the experimenting process. Years and years pass and some things get processed. A old drum Mr. Manette see best to pound and tune to stand out from the rest, but still had real war in the place. Like when invaders and Tokyo march at base, I was clash, gash, slash, clash. This tale of steel pan start to spread like rash. But with time, the spirit start to come. The spirit of Pan show every woman and man that Pan is a gift from God. That Pan is a force to be reckoned with. That Pan is an aspect of our culture born. That Pan is an art form rich. So now, look how far we have come. We don't beat Pan, we just play the song. When our front line bring out his fire in the ground and our back line answer back like if it named tongue. Oh Lord, way. Them arrangements so sweet. These melodies just travel all through the street. Where they're slow, smooth, calm and neat. But the arranger make the Pan them run like athlete. We love it. This is the spirit of Pan. When we march in the savannah with we stick in we hand. The hours of practice every night with the band. Man tired, sweating, but united we stand. Yeah man. This is the spirit of Pan. That feeling, that atmospheric vibe is the spirit of Pan in our souls are the strife. When that rubber hits steel and the Pan come alive, that feeling, that unexplainable feeling, that musical drive, it's embedded into us. Man, woman and child, little with culture, we like to jump and whine. So the spirit of the Pan will make many lose their mind. The rhythm of the Pan is really sun all wild. So next time that you look down in your pan and you look at that room, you just see yourself, see the ancestors from long ago. And next time you realize how the pan yard make you feel like home, remember that mean that you're tuning to the bone. And before I end, know that I tell no lie. In every pan is the spirit of pandas reside. So don't forsake it. Play your pan with pride. And that way, the spirit of pan will never die.
All right. Good evening, Pan. Moving forward in collaboration with Conversations in Pan, grand finale of Rhythm in Pan, Poetry and Art. We still have Keelan on set. We have Zappa in the back, helping the engineer. Zappa learning the thing. And we going down the road, yeah. So we have one more person, but before we go to that one more person, I would give one more result. So our second judge that I know as Troy, right? He gave me some kind of, he gave me the name on the bird paper Zappa today. And I said, well, what name is that? I don't know that. So Troy, I know you're listening. I'll call you just now. So Troy have George in first place, right? 6 points. He have moving from 6 points here. You have JL in second place. Then that's the youngest contestant and the lady that we introduced first, right? You have JL in second place, and that would be interested. That is one of the questions I want to ask here, Troy. That you being so impressed with JL, that's nice. We have Mendez in fourth place, right?
In third place with 4 points.
Sorry, in third place with 4 points, yeah. Nice, thanks. And then we have Alexis in fourth place with 2 points. And then we have Lions in sixth place with 1 point, right? So that would be Troy's results. So we have online Cole Steele Mendez, all the way from Paramin. All the way from Paramin. Richard Mendez, all the way from Paramin. Right?
Hey, good night to you, Akwel.
Yeah, how you feeling? How the show going? I know you're watching. Tell me.
Good. I ain't missing that, man. The show, I mean, it's the culmination of something that almost brings tears to my eyes. I want to say good night to Zappa. And I want to say good night to Zappa because of something Zappa kept saying over and over, and I wasn't hearing. This is not about the individual, this is about the collective.
Right.
And when I look at tonight, when I look at the peer review, for example, which I had so many problems with whatever, I know seeing. Yeah. I'm a convert tonight. Mm-hmm. This really was about the collective. You know, my video, that to me is one of the most brilliant things that has happened to me in my cultural life. I can't thank you more. So I want to pick up Zappa just for saying that, my boy. This really was about the collective. This is a great job that you guys did.
Well, two things Mendez said at to reiterate. Mendez fight we, you know the poem
like Lion.
The poem where George and Akinola doing is don't fight me. That's the name of the piece, eh? Well, Mendez fight we when we say hey
like Lion, yeah.
When we say we're doing peer review, we get fight. When we say we're doing online judges, we get fight. Because Mendez himself is a trained judge, and he most of his work is in calypso and that kind of thing. So it was a back and forth, but we enjoyed it. And it was a learning experience for all of us. And thank you for being involved. Tell us about Cole Steele, the piece. Tell us about the poem itself.
Right, well, the poem, I write a lot. I write poetry. I just write. Writing is like my hobby. And the term Cole Steele is a term I would have heard as a child where they say that the bayonets that they used on the guns in World War I were made out of cold steel, and if they cut you, that cut would never kill. And I would have heard that like when I was a 6-year-old child. And one day, just so you know, with all this thing happening, and my friend was a friend of Alex as well, I said, cold steel? Nah, but pan ain't cold. And the idea just rolled out of the pennies. You know, sometimes some things you're blessed that some things make themselves happen. So it just rolled out. Now, what is interesting in it to me is the style I use is the old, more structured English style, you know, if you have the Twitter teacher, it's called iambic pentameter. It has a kind of function, a kind of space in which you have to write. So I am writing here, I'm writing in iambic pentameter, the language of the colonizer, but I'm writing in the vernacular, which is the language of the street and the language of the pan. So I found that juxtaposition within the frame of the poem itself also lent to the juxtaposition of cold steel getting hot. So that was really the idea behind it, and I think it came out pretty.
And you know what was most attractive about your piece to me is the length of it. You know, I think somebody said it within the review. It's not too short. It's not too long.
Yes, JL said that. JL said that. Yeah. Well, you're condensing the story.
Yeah.
You're condensing the story in one. And the story to me of if you look at the sequencing where I introduce whether steel, cold, or hot or warm, I go to the tuner, I go to the panis. I don't have to go nowhere else again, you know. I don't tell that whole story already. So it's for you to know now that when you talking, I already tell you, well, the cold steel that you talking about is not bad. So I felt the length. I didn't want it to be too long and too verbose-sided.
Right. So something else you mentioned in the beginning, in the opening statement there, is the two persons that I assisted in terms of videography was yourself and Zappa. And
Zappa, yeah.
I remember when I did Zappa video and he saw it, he said, "Boy, Aquil, water come out my eye." He said,
"Yeah, well, look, water coming out of my eye. You know, you are that good. You are that good." And I know seriously, and maybe you know somewhere down the road there is going to be a prize for best video.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because you know, I mean, everybody impressed, and all the work was good at me.
Yeah.
But you know, but for me, not only the video, but the video making experience, going by your boy Jimmy Philip. I want big up Jimmy. Good night, Jimmy. You know, picking mango on the tree, that kind of thing. Hearing the story, see it. So I think that made my experience, the whole experience, you know, a full experience.
So you're right in terms of the videography or the videographer, and if they have a prize for best video, that means that I can't help nobody. So I wouldn't be able to help
or help all that we and compete against this.
But it was open to everybody. I called Kaelan and say if you need help with a video and also Senpai.
Right,
and they would have had their own thing going, and that was good. That was an ease up for me because you know I had all this training to put everything together in terms of from the beginning, in terms of the writing and the pictures and everything.
Because again, I had to thank you because I was lost in that videography area.
So you and Zappa would have sent something to me and I say, hey, this is not the standard that we want for the competition, so I need to help you along here. And we called Jimmy Phillips. And Jimmy was very accommodating. And you're correct in terms of the directing. You have to direct your video. Hey, Mendez, hold the hammer in your hand. Let me take the picture of the hammer.
Yeah.
Take the pan and put it in the furnace. So people asking me, people asking me when they see a video, he does tune pan? So them really feel you does tune pan? You know, when
real people ask me that. And I think that's the biggest compliment to you. The amount of people who ask me if I like you, where you make me look like.
So I think that the video really pull out the poem some notches because
yes, it did.
Your poem was a good poem, but I think that the video really related to people because a lot of people call and really talk about your video and your poem, but they were really on the video how it things. So I think that it really comes together well in terms of where
it was perfect. It was perfect. It couldn't be any better than that.
Yeah. So because you're so experienced in judging, tell us briefly. Tell us about how you went about the peer review.
Right. I made a template, and my template. When Alex was speaking, I think he would have used some of my template. So I took the poem by itself and I rated the poem, right? But I would not have given everything the same weight. So for example, let's say I would have given the poem 25 out of 100. I would have given the poet's performance, his use of his face, his hands, his gesture, his voice, I would have given that 25%. Because I felt that part was heart and soul now.
Right.
Then I would have looked at.
You would have given Alex first in that peer review, which was one of the odds. But that was good.
Yeah. And Alex, what struck me with Alex thing, Alex told, I don't know if you remember, David Rudder's Savannah Party. It's a most beautiful poem put to music, and that's what I heard in Alex thing.
Yeah.
That Panyard experience.
And I did tell him that as well.
It was focused.
It spoke to me. It spoke to me as a panist, as a band leader who do it every year. You know?
The sequencing was good. You know, some of the people on the work I looked at, the sequencing could have been better.
Right.
The head come before the horse and that. But so that for me in Alex's words, his poem was really, really great. That stood out. That really stood out to me then. And even his use of his voice, and I guess that's because he's an older person, perhaps. This is not that the younger people weren't very, very good. But you know, like sometimes performers get better with age and experience and that kind of thing.
Right.
He was able to hold it down to a certain level, you know. Yeah. So I really like what he did.
Right. All right, Mendes. Well, we want to get into the final results. You were the final person.
But before you go, I just want to big up my artists. I really, we haven't spoken about my art piece. My artist is a young man, Kendison Nori, whom I taught in school at Paramin School, and he'd always been a good artist. And he became an understudy of Sundiata, and he is now doing really, really great work. And he had done, I think his first exhibition was a pan exhibition.
Right.
So he sent me a couple pieces, and that piece he sent me, it stood out because it looked, what I was seeing was as a rabid Renegades fan. I was seeing that Renegades rack. When I was feeling that heat, I was seeing the motion on it.
Right.
And of course, the guy who played my pan for me, a young man named Chris, although he's not from Paramin, as I said, he's connected to Paramin. His fiancée is a granddaughter of Paramin. So I kept that Paramin, Paramin link tight. Yeah.
So I have the video where you big up the both of them, and we will play that soon after we get your poem. So we'll go into your poem, call one of the judges, talk to one of the judges, go into your video where you're bigging up your other partners in crime, and then we'll go straight into the thing. So thanks again, Mendes. Thanks for being a part
all
of
the best, Aquil, and thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Nice. Good. So we
God
go
bless.
straight into Mr. Mendes' video, Cold Steel.
Cold Steel. The man who started Cold Steel Coal was mad, or he was living far from Trinidad. Cause how else man could be so uninformed that he ain't know what cold or hot or warm? His limited experience make him say that steel was cold as if the steel was clay. I grieve for him because he never feel the fire that we Trinis put in steel. The tuner come with hammer set to pong. He tuning shop come like a battleground where steel and man of steel does guff the chest, each in their own way striving to be best. But it's the fire that does wake the drum and let it know at last the time is come. As little boy must one day turn to man, when oil drum lucky, them just turn to pan. Then stick and rubber start to search for song, and steel pan spreading fire all around. The pan man sweat does fall and feed the flame. Pan laughing, hear them calling out his name. When Pan see how much people on his side, Pan glow with pleasure and he glow with pride. Pan remember the days when Tokyo would fight for him. First, they did love him so. Is bayonet and bomb that does be cool. Them life things that never had a soul. But Pan so different. Every Pan have life. Carnival is his mother. Calypso is his wife. So when you want your speech be flowery with metaphor and pun and a simile, before them words cold steel come out your mouth, tell people it's not pan you're talking about.
All right. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to everyone. Good day. We're getting that feedback from Alua. Right. Nice. Good. So we are here, Pan moving forward together with Conversations in Pan. Grand finale of the competition, Rhythm in Pan, Poetry and Art. Right. We have one of the judges on the phone, my good friend, Troy.
Yes, my brother. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I cool. Troy, just tell everybody your real name, please, because I only learn your real name today. Go ahead. The name on bird paper. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, Bernard Yorching.
Nice. Bernard Yorching. So, Mr. Yorching, Troy, tell the audience about your accomplishments in terms of writing.
Oh, okay.
Promote whatever material out there. You have a little 2 minutes to promote. Go ahead.
Okay, well, to be very brief, I opened the national opening of Best Village Trophy competition at Naprima Bowl, 1992. I have judged many NJAC Stars for Tomorrow and the smaller primary school Calypso competition. Over the years, I'm the author of The Hidden Agenda of Race Relations in Trinidad and Tobago, which is on Amazon, and it's also for sale at all RIK bookstores. A very controversial book, but a very necessary one. I've been writing poetry for years, and I thought that I would have, I thought that the first thing that I would have published was a book on poems. But what happened is that I saw the need for us to face the realities that separate us, you know? Right. So, so I wrote the book. I also write songs. I wrote quite a few calypsos, and I performed.
You have them there for sale. Make sure and tell people that you have.
Yes, definitely. I have some serious social commentary. Serious social commentary.
Nice.
Yeah. So Troy, that's about it with my.
So Troy, tell me, when you saw the poems, tell me what are some of the things come to mind?
Well, what the main thing that came to mind is that poetry is very much alive, you know, especially conscious poems. You know, you have over the years I've seen that almost die, you know, and this initiative of yours has resurrected it in a real meaningful way, right? So with the artists, there's a variety. In time gone by, you would see more young people coming out to perform.
Right.
And yes, but in this competition, you have people who are middle-aged, and that is very great because it says that they have a lot to pass on, to the next generation, to this generation and the next generation.
Right. You were suggesting that it should be in video work, should be in.
Yes, definitely. It should be part of NALIS because cultural expression, NALIS deals with literature, and cultural expression in this form is literature itself, but just in motion.
Right.
And I think the visual behind it would really attract and serve, especially younger people. Well, it would serve us all, but when you are 7, 8, 9, 10 years, of age, even 13, 14, the visual impact of this sort of poetry with the national instrument in harmony, telling a story about the national instrument. And the beautiful thing about this is that you have proven that the national instruments can be used to tell any story.
Nice.
Right? Because you began with the national instrument and the history of itself. Right? Yeah. So so I think it would be great for NALIS to really become, and for corporate Trinidad and Tobago. I see, I wouldn't measure certain things based on what I think of it when it comes to art, but I have seen a lot of art being supported, and art that does not have this sort of impact on our generation now and the next generation.
Right. I understand what you're saying. You're saying that it's easy to consume the way that it is packaged.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
I want to get to your scores. I see that you have Miss Semper as the second in your scores. And she would be the only female, and she would be the youngest. Why? What made that? What gave you that push to have her in such a high position?
Her delivery is one. The history, like the story that she told, the harmony, that was the second thing. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, everything worked together.
Right.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
So that was real nice. So tell me about your first place. You have George Rampersad. Why George Rampersad?
Well, George Rampersad, even though everyone told a story, and this is why I said before on the page that this is a very difficult thing to judge, because people's expressions are like streams that go into the same sea. But George Rampersad used, the sans humanité, right? Right, that sans humanité is a very integral part, is the roots of the Kaiso and the roots of the extempo, which is expression again.
Right.
And also he
used that motif to tie everything together.
Yes, and he took me from a place where Africans saw the need, or the people at that time saw the need to express themselves, and no matter what the British did, they still were resilient. They used bottle and spoon, tambu, mambu, every time the drum got banned. There was something else that they did just to keep expressing themselves. So I think he moved through time. He moved through time with the war and after the war, and he came straight up, and that was I think any foreigner can learn a whole lot of our history in a small, in a short space of time.
So quickly, we just give me the third place. You had Mendes, and we are right after that. We're going into Mendes video again. Give us a little insights. What you think about Mendes and his work?
Well, I think Mendes is brilliant. He's brilliant. His harmonies are great.
When they say harmonies, we would think harmonies in pan and two notes blending together. You're using that term within literature. Just give me a little explanation why using that term, harmonies.
Well, tones and notes, right? That come together usually take you from one point to another.
Right. So like transitions then. So you're more.
Yes.
Right. It's transition from one space to the next. Right. Good.
Yes. So that was great.
Right.
His story was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The only thing why I think Rampasad, why I chose Rampasad as number one, is because not because the others weren't very good.
Yeah.
Right, or equally as good in some way, but
you could only choose one winner.
Right, and he took me through a whole history, and the way how the whole thing was arranged, where he stopped when we couldn't express ourselves then because of the British.
Right.
Stopped, and then he started back, and then
Right, so somebody that was the most powerful.
It was dramatic. That was very dramatic.
And very simple with the video too. He is right in his living room and blown away with just by the, even when JL says some of his close-ups is really close-up, but that and all create some sort of dynamics in the whole thing,
Yes, his facial expressions.
Yeah.
How he used the pitch of his voice to bring the person, the listener or the viewer into the whole feelings of everything,
Right.
Right. So that was very, very good.
All right, so Troy. So thanks for giving us a little 10 minutes of your time, and
no problem.
Stay a friend to the pan poetry and art. Stay a friend to us, because we would definitely be leaning on you to in the future. We have now Mendes.
And to every
go ahead.
And to everyone who participated and put out, because it takes a lot of work.
Of course.
And to everyone, continue.
Right.
Continue what you're doing, Continue what you're doing.
Nice. All right, thanks, man. And before
my brother.
And before we go into George, I would like to make an appeal to everyone. Definitely, if anyone knows anybody who still want to sponsor into the competition, because we would have at least 3 persons walking away with a wealth full of experience, but they wouldn't have a financial prize to it. We would like if somebody could donate into it. We have a lot of things that the competition would have incur if you want to make a donation to the studio. We have an engineer here. There's things. So if you know anybody who would be interested in donating into our pan poetry and art for this year, we're still accepting those donations. So yes, we're going straight into Mendes's comments on his art and his pan. Go ahead.
I was very, very fortunate to get some artwork from an excellent young artist, Mr. Candace Norrie. I decided to share this with Mr. Norrie because Mr. Norrie is a young man I taught at Parliament RC School, a resident of Parliament, and he's making waves as an artist. So I felt, he would be somebody who I would really like to be on the train with me then. So I just wanted a piece of artwork that would represent the pan, the man, the band, the land. Just one all-encompassing piece of artwork on pan, not necessarily even wanting to know the name of it. Again, thank you very much, Kenderson. Now, with the background of my competition piece, you will hear a lovely rendition of David Rudder's The Hammer. I didn't think that I could use any other piece of music related to the creation of Pan without choosing that piece by David Rudder. Interestingly, the guy who was playing the piece, a friend of mine, Chris, although not from Paramin, is the fiancé of a grandchild of Paramin. I also want at this point in time to say thank you very much to those persons who have given of their time and funds to assist the competition with sponsorship. Michael Smith Photography, Pan Podium, Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra, This and That Band, Sticks and Tones, and especially to Miss Fantastic Alette Wiggins, who is the author of an excellent book of poetry called Conversations in Pan. I think you should try to get your hand on it. You know, Alette, thank you very much. She is the brain behind putting this whole thing together. So I know she's put out a lot of time and effort. Thank you very much, Alette. But I want to say a special thanks to somebody whom I hope will, in time to come, become a dear friend. Mr. Aquil. Anyway, but Aquil is the guy who is chief cook and bottle washer. Aquil has been meeting with us on Zoom. He's been editing the work, putting the work together. Aquil is a special type of person, my boy. Aquil has the most patience of anybody. I know, Aquil, I have harassed you tremendously over the last couple of weeks. I hope you would understand that it's in the spirit of, of everything being better. I hope that next year I will definitely make every effort to work together with you, not as a competitor, but definitely I would like to be on the management and organizing team with you all next year, because I think what you all are doing is fantastic, and it does give some exposure to not only the poet, as I said, but the panelists and the artists. So God bless you all, and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, good day. So good evening. We are in Pan Moving Forwards and Conversation in Pan Grand Finale. Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art Competition. We are about to announce the results. We have the results there, Alua. So we have one more judge, and that judge is George Caesar, right, from Deltones. We would have been hearing his work and still hearing his work in the background there. Don't Fight Me is one of the pieces that he would have been saying his poem on, right? And his points, interestingly enough, would have mirrored Miss Alette's point system. So she would have had Kaelan first. He would have George second with 5 points. He would have Mendez third with 4 points. He would have Alexis fourth. No, sorry, JL fourth with 3 points. Alexis fifth with 2 points. And Lions 1, and that would have Lions 6, right? So what we see is that when you add up the total, you would end up with George coming out victorious in this rounds. Kaelan would have been second. We would have Mendez third. JL second with 11 points. Alexis fifth. Sorry, Alex Mitchell sixth with fifth with 6 points, and Lions with 3 points in 6th position, right? So when this would be out of 18 points, and when you put that into a percentage, out of 100 would be 88 for George, 33.3 for Alex, 83.3 for Kaelan, 61.1 for GL, 66.5 for Mendez, and 16.6 for Lions, right? You have the next paper. So when we calculate and crunch all of the percentages, we would have, and all of this would still be in out of 100 points, we still have to bring it to 25 points each, because the peer review would have been out of 25 points, and the judges would have been out of 25%. Sorry, not points, percentage on each, but it's still in its raw state out of 100, right? So we have the peer review percentages: George, 84. Alexis, 52. Keelan, 68. JL, 44. Mendez, 86. Zappa, 22. We have the judges: 88, George, 33.3, Alexis, 83.3, Keelan, 61.1, JL, 66.5, Mendez, 16.6, Zappa, right? Total, which would be out of 200, would be 175, George, 85.3, Alex, 151.3, Keelan, 105.1, JL, 152.5, Mendez, 83, Zappa. When we first to get this to 25% each, or 25% total, we end up dividing everything by 4. We have 43%. So this would be out of this would be the 2 points come together, which would be out of 50%. 43%, 21% for Alex, 43% for George, Keelan, 37.8%, JL, 26.3%, Mendez, 38.1%, Zappa, 9.6%, right? So when we put the online judging, which is everybody get 50%, right? We add that to the judging, which is the judging, the peer review, and the judges put together. We have 43% plus 50, we would get 93%. We have 50 plus 21 for Alex, 71%. Keelan, 50 plus 37.8, 87.8%. JL would have been 50 plus 26.3, 76.3%. 50 plus 38.1, 88.1% for Mendez, and 50 plus 9.6, 59.6% Zappa, and the final result would end up being in first position George Rampasad with 93 points in all. Richard Mendez with 81.1 percentage, sorry, not points, percentage. Keelan in third position, 87.8%. JL Semper in fourth position, 76.3%. Alex Mitchell, 71%. And Roland Di Zappa, 59.6%. And that is the results of the first ever Rhythm in Pan Poetry and Art. Could we get Fantastic back on the line there and some music in the background? We would present the trophy to the Zappa on behalf of George Rampasad. Somebody had to collect it for George in Denmark. Well, George is sleeping. What are you celebrating? What's going on? Right? So we try to see if we could get Miss Wiggins on the line. And while we're trying to do that, Zappa, tell us what you thought about the results.
For me, it's a kind of mixed feeling.
Yeah, we hearing Zappa and I hear him in my headphones here. Hold on, eh? Yeah, go ahead, Zappa. Give me the phone. Let me get on to Miss Wiggins at the time.
It's a mixed feeling, but look, I came into this competition not really trying to challenge what is the norm. I had my expression to say, and it's just trying to get the connectivity that can be pleasing to others going forward.
Right. Hello, Miss Wiggins. Right.
Yeah.
So what you thought about George?
Right. It's kind of ironical that when doing the peer review, I think I had the top three, more or less. George, followed by Mendes, and then Keelan.
Right. So you have George.
In fact, the order that it is, that is how I had it.
It's the whole.
Yes. But I must say this much.
Now, as I say that too,
yeah.
George Caesar has the same order as Miss Arlette as well. Eh? No. George Caesar and Miss Arlette have the same order in terms of Keelan first. But you have the same order in terms of the final judging. So you based on the collective,
yes,
you are spot on in the way.
And I would like to let anyone in any competition always think the collective. Because look, it's not about sour grapes, but I'm not emotional about it. But I've seen it for too many times in my life, whereby you always look to do the maths game.
Right.
Right. So make sure that you find a middle spot.
Yeah.
Right. For me, is how I looked at judging it. I would have sort of looked at my mirror.
Right.
Yeah. And see how it complement my mirror.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of obviously ironical in the sense that the mirror didn't reflect how I saw it.
Yeah.
In terms of like others viewing me.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I have this. I'll leave it at this. We say we, not I, and I have a big band had that style. We, not I. But when I look at we in society, we talk about the collective, but soon as you're with another person as an individual, that we just turn to me. Yeah. So it's really some conditions in the society that I cannot break.
Right. Yeah.
I know I cannot do it by myself. I just always say I look at the us and I.
Right.
We are here together.
And I think that throughout this journey,
yes,
on our meetings, you always spoke about what even going on,
right,
in terms of being together. And I think beyond the competition, I said it most times in the meeting, because we would have seen some people being very competitive, but I said beyond the competition, we have so much more to achieve. And I think that the journey now start according to Tambo. Let's get some insights from Miss Wiggins.
Hi. Well, I want to say congratulations to everyone.
Yeah.
All of the participants from beginning to end. Actually, we did have a couple of people that fell off.
We could get a little more volume on Miss Wiggins, please. Yeah, go ahead, Miss Wiggins. We heard you
better?
before you continue. Yeah.
Yeah, we did have a couple people that fell out very early, and I would like to see them next year. We had Jolene from England, and we had Pan Sticks from Canada, a couple people, and Mr. Muhammad from Dallas, Texas, Joe Muhammad. So, and they had awesome, poetry. So I would like to see them attend the competition again next year, God willing.
Right. Ms. Wiggins, could you tell everybody what is the financial reward and what else it have as prizes?
Okay. Absolutely. So first place would be the equivalent, I would have to say the equivalent now, of $750 plus a copy of my book Conversations in Pan. Second place would be equivalent of $400 and a copy of my book Conversations in Pan. Third place would be equivalent of $250 US and a copy of my book Conversations in Pan. Now, for the 3 people, because finals were 6 people, I will get to the other three. I will get copies of my books to you guys.
Nice, good. And don't forget the trophy sponsored by
The
Claude
trophy.
Gonzalez, right?
Yeah, I'm
let's
coming up to the thank yous.
right. So we have the trophy here. We have on the trophy first place winners, right on top. Then we have Claude Gonzalez, Jam Your Set, Pan Moving Forward, Conversation and Pan, Rhythm and Art, right? Pan Poetry and Art, right? And the date, which is today, right? Anything else, Miss Wiggins? Anything else you'd like to say?
Really quickly, I would like to give all of my thank yous to Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra. These are the sponsors: Mellow Groove Steel Orchestra, Sticks and Tones Steel Orchestra, Pan Podium, This and That Band, Michael Smith Photography, Claude Gonzalez, Ainsley Boisson. Without you guys, this competition would not have been possible. So we really appreciate your financial blessings, and we hope that you enjoy the show from beginning to end as much as we did. I want to thank the whole Pan Moving Forward group. I want to thank Miss Smalls, my admin assistant. I want to thank Miss Josie Archer for her artwork, Mr. Akinola Sinan for his music consultation, the fellow judges. I didn't know Bernard was a judge, so that was a surprise, a pleasant surprise to me, because he kept saying Troy. And I was like, who's Troy?
You
So
know
now
him.
I know Troy is Bernard. So thank you, my fellow judges. And George, George is, I have a special thing for George because he's so dramatic. So fellow judges, I want to thank you guys as well. Let's see who else. Oh, supporters and followers who've been following from the word go, for your likes, comments, shares, encouraging words. What I want to say really quickly, one thing that stood out to me with the participants, in addition to them blowing away everybody with the depth, understanding of the instrument, the detailed storytelling, artistic work, just general creativity. The way that they came on each other's presentation and gave
Yeah.
words of encouragement,
Support.
that to me was huge. Okay? And finally, Aquil, to you. I have a huge thank you to you, Aquil. And I wish you all God's blessings in all of your in all of your endeavors. Because, as you rightly said in our first Zoom meeting, we had, I am saying past tense, a very strange relationship. We grew and developed our relationship and friendship throughout this competition. I mean, I was calling this man all wee hours of the morning. I was stressed out at some points. We disagreed at some points, but in the disagreement, we never disrespected anyone. That's one thing that I liked about him. He brought out the very best in me, I have to say, and I believe that I brought out the best in him. We worked exceedingly well together. It was a lot of work, but we all got it done. And Aquil can bring out the best in anyone. He's a dedicated person, hard worker. He will help you at the drop of a hat. He knows how to solve problems. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but in the essence of time, I just want to say that it was my absolute and complete pleasure hosting this competition with you. And hopefully we can do it again next year.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. And as you rightfully say, we had strong political views at the beginning of our relationship, and we still stand at different places. This is a prime example of not letting that stand in the way of progress. So thanks for accepting the suggestion that we work together and so on, because some people, even up to now, so close-minded that they can't even reach out to say, well, Aquil, I need help with this, or Aquil, I need help with that, and that kind of thing. So at least with this example, we can probably be some sort of light to not only Trinidad but the world, right? So thanks a million, right? I'm hoping to see if I can get George inside for just a second before we close off.
Please do.
So have a nice night, Miss Wiggins.
Okay, thank you so much, Aquil.
Let's see if we could get George inside now. Aloha. So could you play George piece by the time? Aloha?
Isn't he? Sup?
Yeah, hold on.
When the Englishman ruled in the last century, Trinidad was just but a slave colony. The African drum he could not understand, so on black people's drumming he put a ban. Now faced with a law they could not understand, the people they played bamboo drums in the land. It was not very long before bamboo was banned and England had silenced the drums in the land. Now sentenced to prison was many a man for daring to play on the drums in the land. So it came to pass that the people began to play bottles and spoons, old pots and tin cans. Somewhere way back in the 1930s, when the English police
All right, so as we know that in Denmark it's probably 5 o'clock in the morning, so George sleeping, right? I presuming, but I would be giving Mr. Lyons this trophy on behalf of George Rampasad, the champion pan poetry and art. First place goes to George Rampasad, and we would be now presenting it to Mr. Zappa on his behalf.
Mr. George, I know when you wake up in the morning and see this, you might laugh, But if I put it this way, if you have two ends of something, right, one first and one last, you put them together and make a circle, then where's the beginning, where's the end? Just a thing inside of me, what I'm saying. But good work. Yeah, when I would have put you at first in my peer review, I would have seen some resemblance of me and you, and it would have sort of like give me a sense of compliment of who you are. Blessings, man.
Yeah. So again, without further ado, let us close off the night. I would like to just say thank you to everybody who stayed on board. I mean, Ms. Wiggins said all the thank yous to everybody. She covered everybody. Thank you to my engineer Alua. I'll give him a little something now.
Yeah,
people doesn't know, Alua has come here the day before and started set up the place, and it's a lot of time just to do one show, and I'm eternally grateful to him and the things that he did for myself, for the organization Pan moving forward, and the things. Enjoy your night, right? And until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay alive. I'm Aquila Rendell, and I'm out.